ult coming through, but the follow-up from Lehens, making sure they keep aiming topped up, the Moonlight Vigil with the heal to make sure that Aiming can then follow up, and Cuz getting on towards Ruler, and even though Kanavi tries to set up the follow-up engage, with that TP coming behind, and Kanavi moving with his metal pants, he's waddling his way as quickly as he can, but it's just not enough. And Knight doing a bit of window shopping by the time he gets down as well, and only ends up burning his flash later on to try and follow up on the play.
Do see that JDG was able to get first towards this Drake, and KT, they're not going to contest it. Decide the better of it. This is the second Drake, not setting up any soul point as Keen TPs to our top side.
Yeah, sort of playing into that 1-3-1 style like you guys were illustrating earlier on. That being said, having control of Drakes is one of those prerequisites if you want to be able to play 1-3-1. Generally, as Rift Herald is just going to get executed, and that is no extra money. Not the greatest one you've ever thrown down there, cuz it's all right. We'll see whether he can get the Rift Scuttler. There we go. There's at least that.
I think Keen needs to leave fairly quick because there's a lot of members of JDG up here. Although it looks like with Cuz kind of spotting out exactly where JDG is, they'll buy just enough time for first tower to go across.
Successful Herald gets them a turret.
I like your optimism.
It's actually really cool to see because for KT, whoa, that's a Mascot lane economy snapshot. I was going to say, KT, what, they've kind of answered.
There's the 2 in the mid lane.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
2 what? Just 2?
Shouldn't there just be
2 of them?
Just 2? 2 of what then?
2 of them.
2 of golds.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 of golds.
Yeah.
2 of golds.
It's like
in
the 3
lane
of hearts.
Knight.
It's like a, you know, if you're playing the cards or something like that. Yeah, it's all fine. But
and I do want to throw out a little bit of a warning here for KT fans that might be somewhat enthused by the current situation in the game. We don't count chickens, especially not against JDG. How often do they fall behind early, Dagda? Like,
yeah.
How often do they not pull the trigger until they can get these 5?
I will say though, Knight might be in trouble here as BDD is there, but I want to highlight, like, I think KT have really prepped for JDG as...
Ooh,
yeah, good.
Escape.
Wait,
Misses the
Missing's
dash
still here.
cannon, that's going to work out. Missing is here though, and we'll see whether BDD can get out of that. He ults forward, the dodges, gets out after the charm, and BDD's still alive. He's an actual ninja. It's happened.
What a play from BDD, styling on JDG in that bottom side, and buying enough time now. Cuz to get down to the bot lane to protect him, you've got push in mid. You're losing your top side camps here as Kanavi, as you can see with the Jacks stealing away blue. KT are kind of running the game here.
Still got the cannon.
Yeah.
Kind of don't. Even Jonas Strong would be happy about that one. As Keen in the enemy jungle, I can see your face right now, Chronicler. He is strong to be happy about
not ready for this game to be a little bit
see your face
he's
right
not
now.
ready.
He doesn't know how to analyze this whole situation. I'm going to have to commentate him because he's incapable of
I don't have as
commentating
much
right now.
experience as you, okay? I'm not, this is not a familiar feeling for me. I do want to highlight that the investment of JDG towards the bot side actually ended up getting them the turret, ended up getting the flash. Or actually, turret is still standing. Sorry,
yeah.
that's on BDD. But outside of that, as you were saying, the immediate counterpunch from KT on the other end of the map gains them a small lead, but more importantly, gains them control of the tempo on top side, lets them take over the enemy jungle and set up for second Herald. Maybe this one will actually hit something.
It also buys them time to scale. Like, Jax wants to try and get towards 2 items. Thumbs up, he's in a great spot. Aiming, having this Lulu in his pocket to try and help him, he's going to be in a great spot when he gets to 3 items. Like, KT have done a really good job of reading the way JDG played the map. So usually you see 3-6-9. If they're going to go, JDG are going for a play on bot lane, he'll cover the mid push. All right, cool. Keen walloping away in that top tower, gets the top tower. Like, KT have done their homework against JDG and are punishing them for what JDG traditionally do.
And it's also the way that KT dispatched of Gen G for the entirety of summer.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same type of style as the fog being toggled there. Are they going to try and make a play?
Yeah, in goes Cuz. 369's pretty tanky, but Permafrost has stacked up. They get the teleport out, and KT say, no, not biting off more than that, and they will take the summoner spell.
Still a big win, particularly because the 1-0-3
this is a bit of a problem. Aiming's going to flash, but they have their eyes set on Lehens, and Ruler will be able to take him down comfortably. It should be this turret falling as well, unless this teleport's going to work out. Cuz moving his way forward as well. Keen, Counter-Strike has been primed, and the Glacial Prison is going to land on a missing, but he's going to be able to battle dance his way away. He doesn't even have to here. The KT now bearing down on this outer turret mid.
Oh, they're going to try and get something out of this play, because the teleport investment not really paying off just yet.
They do manage to get the turret here, but JDG, they form the Phalanx again. should be able to defensively posture. They lose their turret, but they manage to take the other. Oh, they're very close to manage to take the other. They'll need to breathe on it a little bit later.
I mean, this is a good moment for KT, though. You get your reset, you're looking at Dragon in 30 seconds time. You've just injected a bunch of gold into 2 of your carries, so I think they're in a great spot. Also, 369 committed his TP to bot lane, so no TPs at all for JDG on the upcoming play, and KT have the tempo advantage.
They have a ward, so he walked, I think Knight walked over the ward in jungle. Gotta assume that BDD had an idea that he might be waiting there. We will see, though. I think Ocean, particularly for a 1-3-1 comp, can be really big, allowing you to stay in side lane for much longer. 369, that's not an easy target. Looks like KT don't want to go for it, but we might have another fight on our hands here. Yeah. JDG, they don't have control right now, but I think they're going to be looking to contest nonetheless. Maybe Kanavi can steal again.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they don't need control. Maybe they just need the horse to just wander away in there. As KT, 4 members here already set up. You can see BDD lurking in the sidelines. 369 goes in, aiming, trying to escape from the crocodile. He'll get away with hands. He may not be so lucky. Knight in trouble as well, though, as he flashes away. BDD trying to get into the Moonlight Vigil, flies forward, and Amy's gonna lock down the first kill. Ruler's dead as well as BDD. Perfect execution, and KT will tear JDG apart. Is this really happening?
And they
It's only game 1, but still, they're managing to win team fights.
And KT are able to absorb the initial blow of JDG. 369 goes in on aiming, but it's the Lulu that I think is the big difference maker. That plus the immediate response from aiming on Nephelio specifically. If your engage doesn't work out and you're stuck trying to get to him, you will not win the fight.
And watch this. As the ult from Missing comes through, Amy, Cleanse, Gale Force immediately buys space. The Hen's down with the ultimate to keep him topped up and the speed up to back it on up. And Knight has now been caught because he's been separated from his front Ryan. Ruler's already gone over the wall and burned Cleanse, which means when Keen goes in, Ruler's burst. Aiming has an amazing Moonlight Vigil to set things up. And the AoE from this Aphelios in the close quarter combat fight works out beautifully in favor of KT.
An absolute game of inches in that team fight, though, because if Missing is actually able to get the quickness over, especially aiming, but the rest of KT as well, that could just be a wipe straight up, and the game could just be done. That's soul point for JDG and all the trimmings. But not going to be the case here. Still, 5,000 gold is the lead here for KT. JDG still a few team fights left in them before this Nexus of theirs is going to potentially fall.
And one of the biggest pieces of criticism that is often levied towards BDD or his builds, inventor of triple lifeline, when you were still allowed to build. He's got Death Gap second. He has one job, and that's to blow up whoever of Knight and Ruler is closest, right? The amount of roll damage that he's going to be able to output is
so he's wearing a hat,
insane.
a belt, and some shoes.
Yes.
He's a
Not
stylish
bad.
man right now.
Yeah, I'm really into that build. As Keen, he's finished off his cool green sword as well. And alongside the Divine Sunder, he's going to be doing a fair bit of damage as Missing. Moving forward, Ruler is going to be there, but of course, Cuz is pretty tanky as this bear.
I think the biggest thing this buys for you as KT is time on the map in side lanes. Like you can see at the moment, right? BDD with this stylish hat is now just pushing in completely on that top side. Keen also, I mean, he's got a sword on each hand, or at least a hammer in the other one. So he's going to be able to push in on bot.
I like this game.
It's really hard if you're a 369 to actually try and contest that. So at the moment, as long as KT are able to keep control over the 3v3 in mid, which they might actually catch JDG here, they should be okay.
Yeah, Missing able to get himself out with the grand exit. As Battle Dance as well, of course, you're pretty slippery as the Rakan. Kanavi throws a stab towards Cuz, and Cuz says, cool, moves away. Just clearing out vision, and of course, this is the homework that you have to do. When you're playing the 1-3-1, you need to be the team that has the vision around the Baron. Otherwise, very, very difficult to stop JDG from just taking that one. As Keen moving down towards this bottom side, and if this Jax wins in a side lane, that is part of your win condition complete. So far, that is working out here for KT.
I think JDG are trying to essentially read where KT's next melee attack is. It looks like it might be on the top side, which is why JDG at the moment are just trying to see if they can clear out the vision in their own top side jungle and then shift it into river, separate the likes of BDD from the rest of his team. So he has to back away, opening up the opportunity for Knight to clear out these waves. And I think that's your biggest vulnerability. Like Orianna into the likes of an Akali. I mean, we saw for T1 and Gen G, right? Like, how good was Chovy at catching Faker out on the likes of this Orianna? If you allow this matchup to actually go head to head, BDD's gonna smash Knight every single time.
Big thing as well going in is that as we get deeper into the game, KT right now obviously looking really good in items, but we did see against Weibo that they were not really able to find a very clean way to take full control of the game, right? They had one misplay on top side, and then that kind of slowed the game down. The one thing I'd be worried about for KT, if they are forced into a 5v5, is that Ruler, as we get deeper into the game, is going to become a bigger problem.
And that's why I think if you're looking at this, you need to try and get control over this mid wave.
Yeah.
The second you get pushed there, you can lean into top side, clear out the vision that's already been set up here and to back here, and then you're in a position where you can allow BDD to extend far. You can get control over the Baron. And at the moment, Keen is totally fine. I mean, he's incredibly slippery. You're not going to be able to catch him. So that's why I think you have to try and focus on controlling this 3v3 in the mid lane. And at the moment, they just haven't quite been able to keep Ruler from pushing out the waves.
Well, 369 losing out in this trade at the moment. The 0-3 Jax here from Keen, certainly feeling pretty scaled at this point in time. Extendo Beam not going to find Cuz here as JDG desperate to get themselves into this river to try and get some semblance of control. BDD lurking to the north, though. It's a bit scary here for JDG. They're just trying to gather themselves at this point in time.
And I do think that KT, like when they see, for example, someone on red buff with the ward, they need to try and pull the trigger. Keen did invest his ultimate, so should be waiting for that to come up as JDG are looking for an engager. And you see as well, JDG actually hold on pretty decently to the vision that they have, which means that KT can't use the fact that BDD and Keen both are hard winning inside.
Yeah, and I think the problem is as well as BDD is just hard pushing this wave a little bit too much. I think you need to sync up your waves so you can actually try and get that with mid and top and the same timer to invade on top side. We haven't got that. Now we've got a dragon, and now we've got an opportunity for JDG to maybe look for something, but Missing's tagged out.
Free items for aiming.
Keen also lurking here as 369 takes down the chickens. Still feeling like it's on a knife's edge. It's going to be second Drake for KT. Soul point opportunity, but of course JDG, not a lot of control of the river right now. I think giving it up is probably the right move. Live to fight another day. Or look to try and set up around this Baron, which could be an opportunity as well.
I think KT have played this incredibly well. It's like, hey, look, 369 isn't actually contesting bot wave. Right, let's just go and take Dragon. As long as we can keep the 4v4 or at least 3v3 in mid in our favor, they can't really push in to go for Baron. You can see it at the moment. Now that they know, okay, Dragon's gone, we can try and get some vision, but not having control over mid or top has made it impossible for JDG to contest Baron area.
BDD grabbing himself a stopwatch here, going to be very useful in the next team fight. Having a look at Knight, does have Ludens and Shadow Flame, a lot of damage availability. We were having a discussion about Orianna runes around the place yesterday. Did see some different options, but with the Shadow Flame, really like the Ludens choice here to make sure that these shockwaves pack as much punch as possible.
And Knight he's going to be looking for aiming, right? If he hits a shockwave, if they're able to actually lock down aiming, even with how strong Keen and BDD are, you got to imagine that at least one of 369, Knight or Ruler, will be able to survive the fight and go from there. Do note also the Knight's Vow on Cuz, which I assume has been put on aiming. Try and keep him alive throughout the initial burst that might come through from JDG.
Well, they're bearing down on this very, very injured turret. Can a turret get injured?
Never stood a chance.
Damaged. I'd say damaged is probably the word that we could go for.
Oh, BDD.
Lurking, just trying to find these angles where he can. Control ward goes down. BDD, I think, knows that there are a few too many bad guys over that wall. He's going to go away. JDG gets some control of their topside jungle. Maybe just for a moment, though, as Cuz looking to clear it out immediately. Vision coming through here as Missing's always looking for these angles. BDD might be the target. You can really feel it. JDG just trying to find someone that's caught out of position. Try and get that one pick to try and find an angle. KT have already started off the Baron, though. It's down to 50% health. Missing has no idea. Kanavi's going to move forward. The teleport's going to come in. Can Cuz manage to lock this down? He just walks in. Oh, but this time Cuz gets the smite. The Magnet Storm comes through as well, but KT are just standing their ground. Kanavi ripped to shreds. BDD grabs one. And 369 JDG are just running for the hills. BDD's flashing forward. Knight, 5-point strike after 5-point strike, and the Shuriken is going to land. BDD grabs a double, and KT get the Baron and the kills.
KT are smurfing on JDG in this game, slowing down the pace, keeping control of the map, and picking up the Baron in the face of Kanavi. They may actually look to end it here.
I feel nothing. This is nothing happening. as they push on forward.
Yeah,
They're
Mighty
for the
Frank's
end.
gonna die. Ruler, the last man standing. There is 5 seconds left on Kanavi, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough. The teleports are coming in. KT gonna take down their first inhibitor of the game. And they're looking for Nexus turrets now. Kanavi thrown around like a ragdoll. Good double knock up, but the follow-up's not there from missing, and Ruler is executed. That's going to be that. KT, off the back of an exemplary performance, will take game number 1 over JDG. We're only just getting started now, though.
And KT leads the series 1-0. The clear underdog coming in. It's just a single game, but it does mean that the series might not be going the way that some people expect. The KT, a team that thrives when the expectations are low, and coming in to today, they definitely are. Still should be. I want to stress that.
I will say though, I mean, a win on red side, a win that came through off of being able to manage Kanavi with Cuz tracking him incredibly well, being able to find success in that top side and matching a lot of those plays, giving the kills across. Like, this is KT came to play and JDG were caught off guard.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit gobsmacked, but ladies and gentlemen, throughout worlds, we're teaming up with Amazon Web Services for a new campaign called Ocean Drake for Water's Sake. For every Ocean Drake taken, AWS will make a donation to water.org. Our goal is to help water.org bring clean water to more than 70,000 plus people. Currently, 34 Ocean Drakes have been slain since Worlds 2023 Swiss stage began, and it was an Ocean Soul today. Absolutely fantastic. And now it is time to head it over to the post-match to see what the KT fans are managing to do with themselves at this point in time. So I'm not sure.
Well, they have calmed down a little bit, but I have to say, just mere moments ago, this platform was shaking a lot, wasn't it?
From nerves.
From nerves?
That was me shaking my leg.
I'm not saying anything. It's just a visceral reaction to what happened, but I mean, for the underdogs, what a great start, Lore.
Yeah, intriguing approach, both in draft and in game. I didn't expect them to be that explosive, and I really like the way they approach JDG, because for me, they play specifically into JDG's weaknesses, but also onto what made them strong this summer in the LCK, Emily.
Yeah, and as we pull up the draft, I think the big thing here was definitely Cuz's early game. Like, we didn't really mention it at the top of show, but I actually think Cuz has been the best performing jungler here thus far. And the way, like how instrumental he is to KT's early game on something like the Sedge, we saw him going top over and over again, and even when those like skirmishes and fights didn't necessarily work out the way that they wanted, it did set up Keen for success later on in the game, and combining that Sedge-Jax combo was really, really good for KT.
And that's not something that I expected, right? Because we've been talking about how they should set up aiming, especially in the bot lane. I love the Aphelios approach here. I had doubts as to Lehens would be able to match up into this kind of scenario against JDG's bot lane. But you know that when you're going to play this Jax Sejuani, you're going to have to pass top lane. I had some doubts at first because they set up one dive, don't go for it. JDG get the upper hand here, but they kept on coming again. And even though Cuz was the one getting the resources, they managed to fuel onto Keen in the end. And I think this is when things change, Emily, because they have to play in reaction when they should have the upper hand. And in the end, yeah, Keen doesn't end up having the kills, but he was not too left far behind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think what JDG would have wanted from this top side, despite the fact that it was split map and JDG had the bot side while KT had top, was the fact that they were still able to get some things out of this trade, so the Renekton never felt like he was super far ahead. And when it got to mid and late game, no one could stand up to this Jax in side lanes, and also no one could stand up to BDD's Akali once he got going.
Yeah, exactly. They had side lane prio in both lanes, but this game, I just love the confidence coming out from KT because they scrapped with JDG at every single turn. They did not back away from a team that is considered the best in the world at this kind of game. They just went at him again and again and again.
Yeah, and I think the important thing for me is that it comes in these small skirmishes, right? And not the 5v5 fights. They didn't really contest JDG in massive 5v5 5v5s until they were set ahead from these skirmishes.
And I think what is important then is that when it did come to bigger fights, KT was still ready, even though everyone was going for aiming. They wanted to kind of stop the fight from KT before it even started, but that was not successful.
Exactly. It all came down to this third dragon fight here. JDG, you know, we're losing out on some skirmishes, but they had grabbed the first 2 dragons, and to set this up, it was going to be all about aiming. You look at the summoners, he's missing his flash. He was over on this side. He does actually have the cleanse available, but we're going to roll this, and you can see where 369 is coming. 369 had his flash available. Missing also had his flash available. I'm sorry it doesn't actually show that, but it's all about the plan to actually burst down the AD carry here, and we're going to see how JDG try to execute on this, on how KT are going to be able to handle it. So 369 on the flank, he has it swept out. Flash stun right there immediately, and then watch as Missing is going to pile in. They're all going to be going for the backline here to try to take down Aiming, but look at the Gale Force, creates the space. The knockup from the Lulu as well. Aiming pulls back, and they can only really knock down Lehens. And you see on the other side, look at BDD, look at Keen, crushing Knight, who's trying to follow up on this play. He's trying to stay connected with his Recon to get back there so he can land a shockwave on this AD carry. They full send it on him, but they can't actually connect. And then once Aiming finds this moment to reset, JDG try to pull back into this area up here, but look at this ulti that's coming through from the Aphelios. Look at BDD that's flanking you from the other side. Keen coming up as well. Lehens has escaped. And JDG gets straight up out-team fought by KT. They win the fight. They get the dragon. They stop the march to Seoul. And to me, this was the game-defining moment. And this is the moment that I sat up in my chair and I'm like, they can take JDG in a series if they can keep playing like this.
Oof. And that's really what I like compared to the games that they played previously in the Swiss stage, where this was specifically around objective setup that they were playing sloppy. They were like, okay, they got the early game, they got the mid game, but they can turn everything onto a sloppy fight. But here, they take care of the vision. They really clean in the way they approach the fight and the flanks, and more than anything, they play to their comp strength, which is something they haven't been doing all the time.
They played very well throughout the entire game. Emily, we were looking at the post-game breakdown as we relay that JDG has selected the blue side going forward.
Yes, and I think the big thing here, you can also see it, is that Jax for Keen, right? We saw it, you pointed it out in the fight, Azale. One of the big difference makers in that was not only that they were able to keep Aiming alive with the Lulu ult, but also the fact that Jax just jumped onto Knight, chunks him below half health, I believe, and that essentially separates the fight in a really bad way for JDG. So they were using that advantage they did get topside from the split map pressure to be able to win that 5v5.
Even though KT were the underdogs and we were keeping the fans from getting a certain E-word, maybe we are a little. It's KT that draw first blood in this best of 5 over JDG.
I'm
we'll
excited.
Take a quick break. I'm also
Get
excited.
out of
And
here.
we'll be right back.
Stop.
Against a king. Seeing against believing. A moment against a moment for the ages. Countless battles, one arena, the realm. The only thing capable of powering the game, the stage, the broadcast, and the worldwide spectacle we know and love, aka the system.
they had to go in from work.
Yeah, I think I have a much better plan. Switch to my plan from Verizon.
Is it? Go in.
Get my plan starting at just $25 when you bring your own phone. Plus, save when you add perks like the Disney bundle. It's your Verizon.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for game number 2. KT versus JDG. 1-0 KT as it stands. But of course, this is the best of 5. Anything could happen as we move further on. And now it's time to jump into picks and bans. Gentlemen, the adaptations. What are we looking for here?
I actually was going to wonder, is JDG going to remain that Rumble, or keep that Rumble ban in place? Because I do think that even given how good 369 is on more facilitated top laners, Rumble to me is such an insanely strong pick that you can easily first pick here on the blue side. Sejuani though is paying straight respect to both. His Viego and Sejuani throughout the entirety of summer were the two champions where he looked so much better. And even on other champions, it was perfectly serviceable, but it was those two that really were the scourge of the LCK.
And I think even in the last game as well, he did such a good job. You can see how comfortable he was with the picks, setting up for a lot of these counter plays that Kanavi was going for, and even just trying to play through the double melee mid that he had, but aren't mid and top. But immediately Nico's going to slip through the draft, as that was the ban that Sejuani was dropped for, and it's going to be picked up for Knight in that mid lane.
A lot of teamfight power here. BDD now going to opt in for an Orianna of his own. Of course, extremely practiced on this particular champion, much like most mid laners in League of Legends. Although, be a run back of that Aphelios once again. We'll see what KT do decide on. First, gaming's priority, and then could just be that mid lane block.
And this is KT, if they do go for the Orianna, opting in for more teamfight-oriented style. Obviously, they were able to win teamfights, but it was after they were really good about securing leads throughout the map, having a couple of good 1v1 moves, right, being able to trade very favorably when it comes to turrets. And this time around, might not be as easy. I really like the Vi. I think Vi Nico is really good at punishing Orianna. We have seen Oriannas really struggle when they are very far behind, set far behind in lane.
I'm curious if we now get the recon follow for Phil, just to add to that, hey, we're going in hard, and we're going to try and catch many of you with this combo. The only downside to that is kind of what we saw in the last game, where more of these AD carry bans come through, and then you have this Aphelios who's just able to scale and pop off in the later points of the game.
And I'm wondering if Cuz wants to go back to Wukong. It was actually Kanavi that picked this, I think, into the Vi earlier on, and with the Orianna, could be a dangerous combo here on R3.
Or do they prioritize the Lulu, which has been left up and available, or the Lehens Renata angle? This could certainly feel a little bit like flavor of the tournament, especially at this end of it. Renata, something that Lehens has been fantastic on many times, mostly with Ruler, to be honest.
Also allows you to keep alive whichever target Vi's go for, right? So you're able to absorb the initial burst, and we've already seen how deadly this lane can be. KT really taking a lesson from what we saw yesterday by BLG as well.
And makes it very hard even for the Recon to operate in lane, so I love this. I think it's such a smart pickup, and we're starting to see it creep through more and more. We were talking about the LPL counter picks at the start of the day, but with Lehens, that it's definitely been in a great spot with the Lulu, now the Renata, bot lane Cryo. We're going to have some good control over mid as well. I think this is where KT can try and see if they can find the same team fight prowess that they had in game 1 coming into game 2.
Kai'Sa and Zeri both taking away Ruler, going to have to go to something different here as we move to his pick in this draft. Poppy taken away from Cuz certainly could provide a lot of value, as there goes the Rel, Navi piloted the last game.
And Viego is open, but it doesn't really feel like a Viego draft. With the Orianna, we'll see what Cuz actually ends up picking up.
I thought they might just go back towards the Jax here, especially since 369 didn't look particularly comfortable in that last matchup. Get that for yourself. Maokai is also open available, but I think, okay, well, yeah, it's just going to immediately go for the Viego. I kind of agree with what Chronicler was saying, though. This doesn't really feel like the angle to go for it. You don't really have a huge amount of setup on your fight at the moment. It's a lot more like, hey, we're going to absorb pressure, whereas Viego wants to try and have these split-out skirmishes where he can actually start to get rolling, which I don't think is what KT are going for.
Well, the Jinx certainly fits into Ruler's wheelhouse. They are going to lock that one away, alongside Rakan, a little bit more aggressively laboured than what we've seen in other Jinx lanes, often fed the top bench this tournament. Aatrox to be locked in for 369. Very 369, especially this tournament, and oh my goodness, he's been so good. KT, what is going to be this R5 for King?
We haven't actually seen Exante really be contested, and I feel like the Aatrox coming up has been such a big part of that because it's such a good matchup into it.
Also, I mean, great matchup, Carson or Nexton. This used to be a matchup where you'd look and go, hey, whoever gets that first blood or gets the advantage starts to snowball it. But the more and more we've seen this at Worlds, it just feels like you get the Core Drinker, you get the Sterix, and Nexton can't do anything against this Aatrox, regardless of kind of what state we're at. So I think 369, picking up this Aatrox, kind of shows what we've been starting to see more and more in quarterfinals, is that this Aatrox just starts to take over games.
Very interesting situation, because KT, a very different draft to what we saw in game number 1. Gonna have to go toe-to-toe with these team fights, but also they have, once again, a very similar bridging mechanism from the early game into the mid and late with that Renekton paired with the V8.
And to me, the main difference is specifically BDE's role in this draft, because you actually do have, again, a strong top 2v2. I do think that JDG this time around is a lot scarier, and I think that Nico really changes how a lot of those early scrims will play out. But it is, again, you know, Renex and Viego can set up for the stun for each other, get the early resets, and then a strong bot lane that should have priority, even though in the last game we saw it did kind of go back and forth depending on jungle attention. Very different look though for KT. Was there 1-3-1/1-4 in the first game? The way they played the map, that was able to get them the leads. This time around though, looks a lot more like a straightforward teamfight composition.
I agree with everything that Chronic was saying, though. I think
I
think looking at this, it is 100% the mid jungle matchup. I think it's just a case of Kanavi having that control with the Nico, and then when you look at an Orianna Viego, it's not exactly screaming, "We're gonna take your fight, we're gonna absolutely destroy it." And I think that's where a huge amount of that JDG focus is going to be.
And it's also going to have to really be a change when it comes to what BDD is going to be playing like. In this game, he's not on an Assassin this time around, but he is on Summoner's Rift. Here we are for game number 2. JDG looking to fight back once again on the blue side here. They're looking for that Golden Road, looking for that Summoner's Cup. And remember, you can log in your Riot account on LoLesports.com. Watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes and icons.
So on a highlight, Ruler actually there in the fountain flexing the Samsung Galaxy icon.
I know. Shoutouts to his current coach, right? Like, homie was on Samsung White and Blue, helping those teams when they won Worlds back in Korea. A long time ago, 2014.
It's also one of my favorite parts, like seeing these little moments. We had it yesterday as well, Viego flexing Chovy's own emote at him as Chovy was getting run
flashing
over.
top esports as well.
I love those little moments. Shout outs to former teams or former rivals. Peanut, I think, also showcased the LGD one.
Yep, he loves the LGD one. He uses that all the time. Not quite as much as his Penguin one.
It's funny because you think he'd want to forget that time.
Well, I mean, yeah. Let's just move on from that, because I think forgetting sounds like a good idea. As KT is going to try and get this lane in order towards the bottom side. Bit of a treat, to be honest. The Renata piloted by Lehens here. But Lehens has had some ups and downs, most definitely, throughout this season and especially throughout this this tournament as well, and especially the playoffs back in the LCK.
Yeah, it was Lehens dying like multiple times level 1 in that series that I think gave a lot of the early momentum over towards T1. Ended up being the downfall of KT, even with how close that series was. Keen actually able to get some early pressure going, and I do agree with you. I think this is still a very volatile top lane where whoever gets an early lead should be able to run with it. The main thing that I think is really interesting though, and I think that LPL teams have been able to do this the best within the tournament, is the way that if you look at this, you're like, there is no real front line. But Aatrox has basically been utilized as a straight-up frontline, right? We've seen the teleport plays from 369 specifically.
369 himself.
The moment that Starix is done, really being able to be aware of how much damage you can take with the Gore Drinker, with the Starix, and still providing space for, in this case, Ruler as well as Knight.
And it was Ruler back in, you know, some of the 200 years meta that we did see with Aphelios, really making the Jinx look like a great counter into it as well. His Jinx has been a treat for many, many years. We're looking forward to seeing how he's going to be able to utilize it, something that other players here at Worlds have already shown some success on.
And I think it's going to make team fights a little bit more difficult for KT, because a huge amount of what they wanted to do was, hey, we want to try and kite back, absorb the pressure with Lehens, with BDD, so you're running into the Orianna ball, and then we can pounce, right? But when you look at, okay, well, we've got Nico, can kind of just throw out a couple of things. You've now got this long range on the Jinx as well. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for you to find those moments.
They don't know.
He's managed to sneak in. Cuz now looking for that opportunity. Knight, can he actually find it? Shape Splitter comes through to confuse them, but they will not be confused this time. First blood goes to Kuz, and KT are on the board.
And it's Kuz's pathing there is able to clear full towards top and then just sneak by. A second later, he gets spotted, and Knight doesn't go down.
And Kuz has had an exceptional Worlds. Like, every single time, it's been a focus on smart pathing from him. The picks that he gets in the early stages, the fact he's able to get just barely past Kanavi after clearing out his jungle. It's great opportunities from Kuz that are being exploited here, and KT get first on the board.
Knight did have his teleport, so he makes it back to lane. BDD also fresh off a reset, and it was Cuz that picked up the kill. Sometimes you'll say that a jungler getting killed, not a great thing. When it's Viego, I think you're pretty psyched about it. The ability to get resets in these fights, the fact that Bailout can also help try and turn those tides even easier. Looking forward to seeing what Cuz can make of this slight advantage.
It's also just trying to get into that mid lane before JDG do, right? Because you can see here, Cuz he's cleared out his entire jungle and wraps back around to this bottom side to sneak in just ahead of the vision.
Man.
It's so well played. And here you can see BDD struggling against Knight. Knight using the range really, really well, getting those tangle barbs, but with the flash here from Cuz, they're able to secure that kill and strike first in a lane that JDG want to be playing around, and getting that early success for BDD means he can get the no magic mantle on reset.
Yeah, because particularly in the early game, Nico is so oppressive to play into with the constant poke from your Q with Airy, and it's there where you really want to try and maintain as big of a lead on the Orianna, because BDD, he just wants to get through lane, right? The moment you get out of laning phase, even though I don't think there's an amazing ball delivery system on his team, Renekton will do in a pinch. But as soon as you are able to get through the laning phase, particularly against the Vi and Nico, you're going to be feeling pretty decent. We'll see though, because I do think that at 6 there'll be another opportunity for Kanavi and Knight as this Drake being started up.
They're fighting super hard for bot lane prio. I think Cuz wants to try and commit to this. Kanavi has to hop out of the pick because you can see with the Inferno on bot side, they can't really go for Dragon. So Cuz now going to find Knight, but just able to back away.
Yeah, Blooming Burst will connect, but doesn't get the snare. And KT, the Dragon, very angry, has actually given a lot of attention to a lot of different players as they've traipsed up this river. He's going to go back to the pit now and is going to calm down. Ruler moving forward for a bit of that splash damage. Should be able to find it there, aiming just playing respectfully here on this bottom side, as once again, Kanavi going to start up this Drake is missing. Just handshook all over the place.
Oh, this time around though, I don't think KT can contest. Knight actually getting the prio. Early Drake might be going over. KT, they are still moving up though.
Level 5 for Lehens doesn't have that hostile takeover as now they're looking for the fight. Grand Entrance is going to connect. There's the Pop Blossom onto Cuz. They know exactly who they want. Bailout not going to connect.
Flash.
And aiming has to flash to get out. Lehens going to do the same thing. The Zap is going to be blocked by the Renata, but that is still just a pickup for JDG, and they get the Dragon.
You called it, Atlas. They knew their target the second they went in there. They turn on Cuz because he'd already burnt that flash. They pick off the Viego, and they're trying desperately to kill Missing on the way out. But with Shockwave going wide, there's no one to follow up.
Yeah, really good. I think it was the, I don't know who flashed out of the Shockwave, but that might have denied the kill. And here, if Cuz is level 6 and he has his ultimate, this play doesn't work. But JDG identify that's not the case. And as we look here, yeah, Kanavi flashing out, Missing not being hit. And even if Kanavi gets hit, I don't think they have the damage. BDD, this is very early on, as you were saying. No Magic Mantle, great to get early Merc Treads. Not great if you want to try and burst down a target. And KT gets a little bit overeager.
Well, Keen is also pretty eager here towards this top side. World Ender in trade for the Dominus. And both top laners are going to back away.
Keen's been controlling this matchup though. I mean, look at the CS lead. He's been doing a great job of shoving in waves, trying to see if he can get a couple of chips on this plate damage. And with both ultimates being burnt there, the next question becomes, okay, well, can 369 trade back effectively so you can look towards things like the Rift Herald? BDD already in position, trying to get vision down, trying to spot out exactly where Kanavi is on the map.
And with all this action towards the mid and bottom side of the map, it's actually been Keen that's really been reaping the rewards. He's up almost like 600 gold there towards the top side in the isolated 1v1. The Aatrox definitely going to struggle a little bit early. But I do got to say, I'm pleasantly surprised by Keen. I think that he was one of the weakest parts of KT thus far, as Kanavi meets yet again.
Yeah, lurking in the mist is Cuz, is Kanavi. That opportunity, of course, never in too much trouble. Actually, just going to say thanks for the
Look at the
leash.
bot lane.
And yeah, we do have Ruler moving up. Knight already here in this river. And Missing also there as well. So it looks like this Rift Herald should just go over to JDG. Not a lot here that KT can do about it. And Ruler already packing his bags, moving back down towards this bottom side to try and deny some of these plates, or at least pick up some of this CS.
Missing, because of the fight at Dragon and they picked up the wave, had the level 6 advantage. So Lehens just picked it up off this wave that they pushed in, but JDG knew that with the push advantage and the level advantage on the support, they would have been able to contest. So KT back away, Ruler catches the wave, and we'll have to see now if this Rift Child is going to make its way to the bottom side, because I think you kind of need to accelerate this Jinx into a position where she can get 2-3 items, start to take over in that bot side and pick up more and more of these plates and get ahead.
So also, we haven't talked about it yet, but aiming did end up starting, of course, the Shockwave.
Shockwave in this mid lane. Knight taking a lot of damage. Cuz also lurking around the side, but it looks like Knight will just be able to walk his way out. No flash needed. No harm, no foul.
But the fact that aiming does have the call, whereas Ruler doesn't, does mean that even with the CS lead, I think the gold will be pretty even between the two. It was really nicely done by JDG because of how quickly Ruler and Missing actually rotate towards bot, plus the fact that there was a cannon available. It means Ruler doesn't actually end up missing anything. KT don't even get a plate for giving up the Herald, and JDG win on both sides. Although Keen, still very happy.
Big old crocodile here towards his top side. Grabs his second plate. It is very, very nice. So, some good news, but things still extraordinarily even as this game chugs on. And when I'm looking at this in an even game state, I'm thinking that the team with Jinx is feeling pretty good about just moving further forward. Range so good in these team fights later on, and they have so much peel available. Pop Blossoms, cease and desist, things like that. As Cuz on a ward here towards this bottom side. JDG just wasting a lot of his time here. Kanavi moving in as well.
Knight's on the way.
Yeah, there is the handshake, but it doesn't actually stop it. Teleports to come in. Lehans is trying to bail himself out, but it does not work. And now Knight's looking for the opportunity. Cease and desist on a BDD, and he gets picked up by the Pop Blossom. Has to flash. Moonlight Vigil is going to miss! And Aiming cannot find it. BDD is now running for the hills. He needs a dissonance if he wants to get out of this one. Dodges the zap, and that should be enough.
It's a disaster for KT. In game one, they managed to turn around the bot lane play, but JDG were ready this time. Knight has first move. They collapse onto bot, and that's a bunch of gold that's gone into the hands of the LPL #1 seed.
And really big there is that, BDD.
Whoa. The snare is not going to land. BDD's going to have to continue his work. Double Shockwave does come in. Dissonance damage is decent as well, but he still has to get out.
Yeah, BDD, even though he's able to get out of there, as the traps will keep Ruler safe. Teleporting into the middle of that if you're a Kali, great. Yeah. Definitely gonna work out. But you see here, as Orianna, it just doesn't have the same early impact as 369. Feeling confident here, is not doing too hot when it comes to the items, but maybe hoping Keen overinvest, still gonna catch the wave. These early skirmishes, though, going the way of JDG is a really big difference from the previous games. Kanavi standing here, watching KT start this up, trying to equalize the Dragon score.
Should mean with the man advantage that KT have. Oh, never mind. Missing is still just diving into the back of this pit. Ballbreaker is being charged. There it is. Oh, the secure does come through from Lehans. Missing, not going to quite find the engage he was looking for, though. Cuz going very, very low. It's a Hex Soul. This is going to be a big one, but the fight is still going. Keen turns up. Missing's trying to get out with the grand entrance. Keen, can he find an angle? The answer is no! And Missing just traipses his way out of that one.
And the entire time, 369 is pushing the top side. He's going to be able to get some of the plates that are on this top end tower and even up that matchup. Dragon goes the way of KT, but they just couldn't quite get the kill on Missing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the investment, really if worth the investment, right? You spend the teleport, spend the flash on Renekton, which we know is a really big cooldown as BDD. Kanavi trying to get on top of him, but not gonna catch him, the speed up enough to get him out. But it will still be a win for JDG, right? They still zone away the Orianna. We'll be able to get the plates over the night and pick up some jungle camps. Good counter swing from JDG.
And now the question is, how do they want to try and use the fact that you have this teleport for 369? But we're going to get back into this bot lane fight, because immediately with Knight having that roam from mid, Missing feels confident to go in, gets the charm on the 2, sets it up into Amy to blow that initial cleanse. And then this TP, as Chroniker was saying, I mean, way too far forward for BDD. Knight's just able to walk in between everyone, and with Amy not having any opportunity to try and escape away, and the just missing on that Moonlight Vigil sets up beautifully then for JDG to turn that fight.
I'm wondering if that's a blessing in disguise, though, because if that hits and Cuz like baits in BDD to go in, I think Ruler could have ended up picking up a bunch of kills. Still gonna not feel great for KT, though. JDG, this time around, they're surviving the early onslaught of KT. And with the early game that even, you gotta imagine, as you were saying, I think KT still have a lot of scaling elements with the Orianna and the Aphelios, but the range advantage of Jinx can be so hard to play into.
I mean, but game one, we would have said JDG had the better team fight composition, but KT outplayed it in the moment. Now, it looks like JDG a little bit more angry than the last game, I will say, and been doing a great job of turning around a lot of these early skirmishes. But KT have proven today that there are no pushovers, and JDG will have to throw everything at them to try and find this. Now with Flash coming back up for Knight, and also having that control on top side, you can see how much more active JDG want to be in pushing KT back, starting to get control of these towers and plates, and looking at this Rift Herald in 20 seconds.
Well, Hen's looking for a little bit that logistics program. Keen taking a bit of damage here. Full combo from 369 is going to be good onto the Renekton, but just wants to get to this lane to pick up these minions where he can. Feels like 369 just feeling better and better in this matchup. Doesn't quite have his mythic as Lehen's taking a lot of damage here as Knight does catch him out. Might have been a little bit of a switcheroo maneuver there, as Keen once again going to be chained up as he's just wandering through the lane, getting these Kaldameeks off, and Good Ward is here for JDG, giving them all of the information that they could need.
That's like the 4th time. I really think that the biggest difference between this game and the last is how well JDG is able to keep track of Cuz. On this Viego, they have been able to, I feel like right from the get-go, lane wards consistently. As we take a look at lane economy straps, as a result, Kanavi being able to build up a huge lead.
This is a very different one here from MasterCard in comparison to game number 1.
Yeah, and I think it speaks volumes of what Chronicle was just saying. The fact that, well, Kuz can't really be that front line, but can do damage if he finds Kanavi.
Yeah, Kanavi not taking that much just yet, but Lehen's is in Kuz's back pocket. 369 has caught out Keen. He's trying to get to the team fight to help out the rest of KT. The Rift Herald getting involved as well. Missing, just going to get over that wall, should be A-okay. Maybe it's not Shellfish on the menu outside of the little one, just outside the front door of Shirley. Of course, the name for the second Rift Herald.
Something we haven't discussed really yet is the fact that we are looking at a Hextech Rift, both for like champions like Aatrox and Nico and the Renekton. Can be a really big boon as KT are looking to contest.
Yeah, it's a 5-man unit here from KT. Lehen's looking for the avenue, doesn't get it with the handshake as they're giving up on Shade. Finds 4 into the back line and now missing. He's going to layer that CC, aiming lands some damage, but it's not going to save this massacre from JDG. BDD's going to flash, but 369 is still looking for more, and JDG win another team fight.
Knight says, BDD, you had your moment in the last game. Might have a bit of a moment now as Kanavi.
Yeah, Kanavi going to go back in.
No way! No way!
Of course he's flashing in. That used to be the ruler position. This time he's taking names.
And it's JDG taking down KT. They get the Rift Herald. They get the fight. They get the mid lane tower. JDG have come alive in game 2.
And it's Knight that sets up the play, but it's Ruler that's the one getting all the rewards. A 4-man knock-up. And from that point on, missing with the follow-up, ensuring the health bars are already so low. Lens has to bail out himself. That's when you know a fight is a bust.
And this is the thing, JDG had already cleared out all the vision behind them. They'd moved in to KT's red buff to contest it, so there's no vision to spot out Knight as he came in. He even teleported to the minion wave, not the mid-wave terror to finish that one off. So he can get that swing in, and then just the end. I mean, KT, they tried to get something back, but they just couldn't do it.
And you can see JDG, they are not ready to fully celebrate just yet. They're not standing up, they're not moving further forward.
It was a solid half squat though.
It certainly was.
Exactly the right level of celebration.
I think so, especially for a best of 5, especially when the stakes are this high. Trying to pave that golden road. They're gonna have to win 3 of them out of the 5 potential. Is Cuz gonna give up this streak? The first Hextech gonna go over to JDG here. Kanavi getting some free time with it.
And something we haven't really discussed yet, but I do think we're starting to see some of the issues with the KT composition is that there is no hard engage. Like actually reliably picking someone up becomes really hard, and with compositions like this that are really good at absorbing an initial blow, but have a really tough time outside of picking people to start fights, JDG has really been able, I think, to navigate around it. There's been so many occasions already where you see like Keen on his little crocodile legs running after someone's like, I'm gonna start the fight, guys, I'm doing my best. But as long as JDG respects the very limited engage range, it's hard for KT to force fights on their own terms.
Especially now that this is JDG's comfort zone. Yeah. Mid lane towers down, right, we know how to play this out, lads. Push in mid, set up your vision on whatever side of the map you want to start taking these towers. We got Knight on bot side, fantastic, let's play towards him. Now we rinse and repeat, reset, push mid, go top side for that last tower. You'll see 369 going to collect this top wave and probably immediately reset himself to then go to that bot side. 369 and JDG are so good at playing out these states of the map that it's going to be tough for KT to find those moments to answer back.
Feels like going through the motions here for JDG. That last team fight certainly could be a big turning point, that big moment where now the gears just lock into place. KT, they're pretty good at ruining gears. You know, this is a team epitomized by a roller coaster. So we'll see what they're going to be able to do to it. As Kanavi not going to find the ball breaker, but Keen going to have to slice his way out. Grand entrance not going to find the target, missing. Still, he can lurk around, he can zone them away, and they're still going to grab the turret.
Yeah, it's a flash invested, but they do get a turret because of the fact that the rest of KT needs to respect. So I think you'll take that.
Unlocking
JDG
Hex
nonetheless. I like it. Yeah, good point.
Got to make sure you get that value.
Also, just the value that this Jinx has at the moment is absolutely absurd. 2 items now completed. She'll be quickly working up towards that rapid-fire cannon. Ruler is poised to take over this game, and nice, trying to see if he can take over against BDD.
Yeah, another shockwave to come through here from BDD as Pop Blossom comes down. BDD might just be okay with it. Super Mega Death Rocket will be avoided, and now the clockwork wind up. Can he find the attack? There it is, and 369, he wants to get this kill over to Ruler. He's running as fast as his little legs can carry him, but it's Kanavi that is going to end up taking him down. Still a 1-for-1, and he wins the solo kill there against Knight.
And the summoner spell advantage. JDG had to TP 369 in, so they lost control on this top side, and immediately KT respond. Shove him mid, getting control of this jungle. Cuz will be spotted here though, but I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, missing, just trying to do what he can to frustrate Cuz here. Doesn't have enough damage. Does Cuz? Or doesn't have enough of an ability to lock down a Rakan. It's not very many champions do.
It says a lot about the state of the game as well, that even with JDG having to invest multiple people towards taking down BDD after he is able to win that 1v1, and KT still doesn't get anything on the other end of the map. They still haven't taken a single turret this game, right? Because JDG have been able to keep them away from those turrets very consistently, as we do see BDD, the one who set the play, very aware of his own damage. And Knight just doesn't have the burst to take down, especially with the sidestep.
Oh, and Keen tries. Okay, wasn't actually able to get the W off.
Yeah.
Just not ruthless enough. Still may not have been too much of an
I don't
issue.
think it would have mattered. I think BDD dies anyway. Actually might end up not feeling too bad about it, but maybe they could have punished 369 if they do get the cancel.
Yeah, would have had to wait and see. Now though, Knight, well, it's not Knight, but at least hovering around for a little bit here. KT will spot out that at least at the moment JDG are on their bot side and trying to push him out.
Yeah, Cuz looking for that opportunity. Got a couple of cooldowns here from missing, but he is absolutely fine. KT not really looking like they have the same level of poise, level of control that they had in the last game.
I really want to highlight Missing, because to me, he's the one that is the most like, KT, what are you going to do? How are you going to let me down, huh? Like, the amount of disrespect and his continuous presence, moving forward, trying to bait out cooldowns, and maintaining the vision line for JDG is so big, because it doesn't really give KT the opportunity to try and get Keen in a flanking position, try and get Cuz onto the enemy backline. That's a ruler spot, but he has the support to back him up.
Certainly does.
He has everyone, and he has a dragon in 30 seconds, so as long as he doesn't go down, he's okay. But as you say, I don't think unless you want to go in with the Moonlight Vigil or a Flash Auto from this Aphelios, you're going to be able to lock him down particularly much.
See whether KT can actually get themselves into a position to even set up for a 5v5. Of course, it is soul point availability, and it's a pretty good soul at that. For JDG, could really set them up to move towards that snowball. And Kanavi looking to get over this wall.
Yeah, looking at the item breakpoints, Keen just finished a Starix. I was about to comment on that, because that was a really big gap. Starix is an immense power spike. It's mostly Kanavi that's super far ahead. Aiming did actually hit his 2-item power spike, so gonna feel okay. BD doesn't quite have his death cap yet. Would have loved that for this fight. And we'll see, as Knight just now finishes his Shadow Flame as well.
Keep your eyes on 369 though. He's got push in mid and could look for a really big flank on KT here.
Look at the vision.
Yeah, Aiming's got decent guns, does move to a Calibrum for some extra range, and now KT, they're in a choke point. The charm's too massive from the quickness, as BDD is not going to get bailed out of this one. 369 locks down the first kill, and they are just running them over. Keen is trying to be a blender, but he's just getting blended. Cuz gets out of there, but that is 4 for JDG, and they look unstoppable.
It is a free-pronged approach from JDG. 369 from one side, Knight teleporting from the other, and KT try to contest this dragon. It's going to cost them everyone but Cuz, and a Baron as well.
They don't even care about the dragon. They know that JDG can immediately turn over towards this Baron. It's such a massive fight from JDG. It's the second time now where KT They try to get that position, but with having control of the map for JDG, the TP's coming in. I mean, watch this, 369 coming in over the wall. You get the TP to that bot side as well. The lack of control of the wards means KT are the lanes means that KT are way overextended. And Knight is happy to sit in your escape route and cut you off every single time.
And it's the fact that BDD is immediately taken down, right? He's ticking, but not able to actually output any damage, not able to hit a big shockwave. And because of the triple angle that was found there by JDG, there's literally nowhere to go for KT. If you try to go up, you run into 369, missing is forcing you to respond, and then Knight's coming from the other end. And the Red Bull Baron power play for JDG, generally, they only need one of these.
And this is what we expected to see from JDG coming into the series today. Having control over the lanes, playing around this 6-1 and 6 Kanavi on the Vi, setting up for these big team fights and playing the map out well. And now with the control that they have, this is where JDG shine. Push multiple waves, slowly but surely pick yourself apart. And KT are trying their damnedest to get resources onto Amy, as he's going to clear out this top wave tower. But it means that you're going to lose almost everything here on the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, they are just going to be able to take down this inner turret. Inner in the mid lane also falling as aiming versus 369. Don't like your chances aiming, and he's just going to be put in the
Doesn't
ground.
even flash. He's like, nope.
Yeah, no, I think he knew it. As these inhibitor turrets are going to follow suit. Keen looking for some sort of opportunity to keep himself alive, but he's just getting torn apart. Kanavi, once again, just queuing forward. He is not afraid of anything. Shockwave going to be avoided. Pop Blossom onto 3. And I think this one's done and dusted. An instant triple kill here for Ruler, and he will still keep himself alive. These inhibitors go down. They've got powered up minions. And I think in 26 minutes, JDG will fight back, and they'll fight back hard. It's a best of 3, boys.
What a performance from JDG in game number 2. Playing off of lane states well, playing the map well, finding the success in the team fights. And KT, anytime they even sideways looked at JDG, we're getting slapped across the face.
And it's a couple of early skirmishes that they're able to set to their hand, right? I'm looking at that bot lane fight. KT really opting into that, even with the Orianna not really being as strong. And JDG, this is what we were saying coming into the series, like, you can't afford a mistake. KT made a couple of early mistakes, and from that point on, they felt like they didn't get to play the game because JDG kept such a tight grip on the game.
It was incredible work, and now it is time for us to throw it over to the post-match to break down the JDG victory.
And breaking it down, we will, after KT started off phenomenally in game 1. It was JDG that struck back, and I had to even up the KT ante on the desk just because they were not able to get ahead in that last game. So we brought our LCK expert, G-Sun, with us as well to talk about this game. But I do want to start with the draft and kind of how Emily and Laura, you were talking about how you actually kind of saw, because of the draft and maybe the limitations of KT's comp, in terms of how the game could go awry for them.
I mean, that's the thing. When you have a composition like this, I feel like if you fall behind, it's going to be really hard to come back because of the champions you play and the agency that Cuz was leaving and the space that Cuz was leaving for the rest of his teammates later on, and how he was setting them up. And when you're going to play a champion like Viego and play around this kind of composition, if you fall behind early, it's going to be really hard to come back.
Yeah, and then the other thing I do want to call out with this is that Knight was such a massive factor in this game, right? Like, one thing that we unfortunately didn't have time to talk about after the first game was how well BDD performed, right? They picked the Nico, presuming that they're going to go with Ori just because she is such a strong pick. And once again, I think the big difference maker in this draft, which we also saw in the game 1 draft, was the recon. Because another thing that they did rightfully call it on broadcast is that KT's comp, especially when they fall behind, you have no engage.
No, it was really hard for them. We saw that, Ji-Sun, when you were talking to me during the game. You did say, despite losing this game, you saw some hopeful signs in terms of the choices that KT was willing to make in draft.
I want to talk about BDD especially because game number 1, he had a phenomenal performance. And then game 2, well, yeah, it's just too bad that we lost game 2. I mean, KT lost game 2, but still, you know, we saw a huge performance in Orianna. He even got a solo kill on the side lane. I think it's a really telling story because right now, what we saw in the Swiss lane, especially up against D+Tia, we thought KT Rolster, they're not comfortable with the meta pick, so they're going back to top rise for Keen and also Azir for BDD. They're reluctant to take the meta pick, so they're just going for the comfort pick. But today, I think BDD, with two different styles of gameplay on the mid lane, was able
And we had the chance to talk to BDD in the LCK actually when they qualified for playoffs right before we went to the finals weekend, where he was saying, this is my best year so far, but I still have so much that I want to showcase myself, and to me, that's exactly what he's been doing so far, but JDG woke up.
Yes, and I think this is where it becomes difficult because you're going up against a mid laner like Knight, who has a fantastic performance. As we get into the season, we'll talk about what transpired in the already and how instrumental it was going to be.
Yes, I mean, I think the big thing from this game that is this missing Rakan, right? Like, this is where it really started going in JDG's favor, despite the fact that both teams come in. Knight gets this ult off right here, and this is where, like, you see JDG comp how well it makes space for Ruler to be firing on the backline, which is the player that you absolutely have to keep alive for the longest. And yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for me, as we're going to see in the next fight as well, is how Missing is able to set up these engages for massive top blocking.
And it is interesting because in a best of 5, you have to have late 4 point lead. That is a good point for them because they are really not able to go comfort, but what is really good with them? How deep do you think the pools are overall? What you see when we go into the game 3, a game 4, a game 5?
I want to say they are in a pretty good spot because all 5 players, they have a long experience here and like Esports, which means they have so because this is not the first time they have been performing on a big stage like this. They all been to playoffs, they all been to like finals, so I'm pretty sure they have something to do.
We've been talking about at the beginning of the game, right? The fact that JDG, when they came into the series yesterday, it took them a long time to adapt to what the LPL has been putting in this game that week. So like they're bringing the champions that they should be bringing, especially on the support lane, because of the fact that they might have an issue adapting onto what he should be throwing at him. And so like he's bringing the confidence.
I'm trying to kind of translate what I'm hearing because I feel we came into this day with knowing that JDG are huge favorites, right? And we're looking to find all the touching points for KT because we want to see 5 games and we want to see KT at their best, but we have to be honest as well, Emily, that JDG, once they took control into the game, their comp was completely on point, their engages were on point, and this is more for JDG.
Like, in terms of the way these competitions work in this game, once JDG got ahead, I can't stress enough how difficult it would be for KT just with what they have, because if you have a comp like these, you're essentially relying on JDG to come into your run. So if you are behind, you probably don't have that setup or vision to be able to do that. So
speaking of those engages, every time happens thanks to the Reliance system that they're right. 4-man top lots after Imperil. Maintain a 11 wins and 2 losses. Or this is 12 wins and 2 losses. On Nico, I remember game 5 of the LPL finals where he found that flank. Just too good on Nico.
Yeah, and the big thing is he is coming around the flank, right? And so he comes in, massive 4-man top block them. This is really where the game is open for JDG. They're obviously not able to do anything, and Ruler is just getting from the backline, right? And off of this, I believe it's also, it looks like they're going to get out, and then Ruler flashes forward. So obviously here is Knight versus BDD, who we did point out has a massive game 1 as well. So I am really looking forward to seeing how this series evolves with these players, because I think they've put up really strong performances for the team.
And again, when you look at Knight's story international, he was looking to prove himself at MSI. He got this with the title that he got. BDD, for me, he's looking at the same thing because he his best moments and worst moments, and with this team and the performance he put on game 1 and in the sweet stage, for me this is about redemption story for BDD and proving himself again.
So many players on the line today. It is. Thank you so much for your contributions. Don't get too excited. I think for now because JDG has put their best foot forward in game 2 Let's see what happens.
The law bends for no one.
As expected.
Let's investigate. You have been slain.
Yeah, I think I have a much better plan. Switch to my plan from Verizon.
Back on the turret has been destroyed.
Get my plan starting at just $25 when you bring your own phone. Plus, save when you add perks like the Disney bundle.
Perfect practice, precise results. Calibrating. Immaculate. Headshot.
It seems I may have a new suspect.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
they've got a counter. They also lost on red.
Okay, so this is new territory for all of them.
There we go.
Exactly. We'll have to try and figure it out. But I also want to see how we figure out this draft. Because, I mean, Nico actually banned away by JDG. We were kind of discussing before we came into this that we thought that would be very high priority for KT, but especially with the way BDD that champion to annoy everyone to trigger themselves and get something that is happening for champions to minions. But Banana taken away as well. I think at the moment it's going to be high priority on Zaya, yeah.
Yeah, they have to, right? Like, I think KT doesn't really have an alternate because you give over it's not happening.
The problem now is, don't you just get jinxed and then you still have the same problem as last year? Perhaps we're going to try and see what comes around this from Oriana going to I mean, you don't leave the Zaya up unless you're very much aware that the guy's going to be taken out. So I think the big question mark is, do we see something like the Caitlyn or the Jinx? Basically, you want to get range into that bot side for Ruler, and it hasn't played it with the Jinx player.
Yeah, I've been waiting for Ruler to make it. I appreciate your optimism, but after a bunch of years,
there were a few meetings there where he was supposed to be playing like Vladimir. It wasn't a risk.
The burst could be a good pickup here. We'll see if we can actually get but I do really believe that one of the biggest advantages that KT had was how well BDD was able to play collectively. And I think on Azir, even though it is one of his hallmark picks, it is a one-shot.
We do now have to make sure that we keep the idea of BDD's Azir in the back of our minds, even when KT are about 5,000 gold behind. So it does make for a lot of stress here on the caster desk. Some engage options. This is definitely comfort for Lehens. Like you're saying, Chronicler, this is how he gets his work done. It's on the Nautilus. So, a couple of kiteback champions and some engage options as well.
It also makes it very difficult to go for something like a Jinx into the top lane now, because you haven't got a safety of a top Kench, you've already selected for top. You don't really have an opportunity to try and like get away from what's going to be a very potent team fight for KT. So at the moment, I love what KT have done. They started to pigeonhole JDG a little bit into finding out like, okay, what does Ruler have his back pocket? Especially if you want to take things like the area that away, and now with the A-Try 369, imagine if we top lane back.
What I want though is jungle bans. Ban all of the junglers because we have Cuz and Kanavi. These are the two of the largest champion pools that we have as far as jungle is concerned. Of course, Cuz maybe more on the attractive side, not necessarily the large side. But Kanavi can play every champion ever.
All I'm saying is he's played things like Shadow Jungle before, he's played a Beauty, you know? And like there was a combo coming in for us, which is like Ship Oriana combo. So I'm trying to talk about to see maybe it's something we can with Shadow. With Shadow so that's it.
I want to bring up a story of something that actually happened in 2021. I'm allowed to. Atlas has ruined a lot of my jokes. Finally get the opportunity to pay back. But back then it was Yoshi that brought out the meta, and he gave credit to Kanavi. He's like, yeah, that was the guy that showed me the way how to play this player that has a much of doing exactly that. Because I do actually think that is at a champion with the Nautilus, you're always going to have at least in the back line, and it is the zero range that is going to be short range here.
That was going to be the question, what do you mean also? I mean, having the spell sheet is going to help one of the engages, but now you got to buy. Something's going to buy some serious pain, so I think it is going to be a bit of a tough fight here for Ruler to stay safe as the game starts to go on. Especially, I think, if you actually going to stay alive. Maybe Kanavi needs to focus on like the Wukong on the other side.
Well, Rel being considered here as that final pickup, that'll be locked in here for Rel. So not really going very deep into the champion pools, especially if Maokai is going to be the answer here on JDG's side. Stop talking about hovers, and by we, I mean me. Jax into Aatrox, something that has been very volatile there on the top side of the map. Let's see, Kanavi probably just flexing, basically saying that I can play almost anything here, but the timer is going to run out. He's going to have to decide. And it is going to be the Wukong in the end. There is so much hate in this team fight here.
And that's why I much prefer the Wukong. I think the vibe already have a target you want to go to. Spears, ultimate, die ultimate, makes it very difficult for you to find that fight. But if you're able to get in a Wukong onto the fight, any access at all for 3 seconds before he answers the fight, then you just follow up and get the AoE zipper. It actually makes these fights incredibly potent from JDG's side, and KT will have to make sure they're getting the objective first, setting up vision, not allowing JDG to circumvent I like we saw in that match.
The one advantage that KT has over the last time is that they have complex mechanics, unlike the previous game. Position. Vigo has a little bit divided up with the rest. If you are able to win your skirmish, position can function. This time around, we will hands on the shoulders, which is by far as we have seen domestically. And is it enough lockdown to consistently get it back? Because I think JDG's not only is find a flank, but like with Simmer ultimate as well as the amount of engage from KT to get absorbed, only to then counter-engage is a really scary thing that's being we've seen JDG execute comps like this countless times.
Yeah, exceptionally well, and they can just, if you're ever grouped up, locked up, caught in a choke point, like KT was many times in the last game, it could just be lights out. Instant to ricochet, the cyclone, shockwave over the top, and then an Aatrox running amok. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. Allow Ruler to get to his item could be an angle. Oh my God, here we are, under the rest for the third game of this best of 5 series. KT, one of the largest hopes for the LCK, now up against the tournament favorites in JDG. Connection League Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive from W emote. One of the best emotes ever created ever.
It is a banger.
Okay.
Because I cannot even attempt to connect to my account.
Just to remind you guys, BD is busy. He's played so many games. He's over 100 games on this channel. In fact, BD is over 103rd. Currently has 61.3% win rate on this here. And we often just call it the Ziga over and over again. This time we are going to be able to see it. We saw it in this tournament against D+. And KT one of the big reasons why JDG was able, I think, to get the next game up on the trench coast. So we already saw Vayne able to set up vision and keep track of where this rel is going. Because I do think that as good as Canada decided to win, pretty heavy jungler. It's just about I also think that you're very intentional. There's just a lot of situations. Last game, KT really struggled with FBA, huge amount of it. So I like that now we're going to get Coz go back towards that spot, and then go back to bot lane because he's going for this 3-cap started. All of these lanes, in fact, a little bit better than what KT have been dealing with other times so far this series. As you can see, aiming in Lehens, just trying to stand their ground. Biddy shoving quite nicely, keen with control topside.
I actually like this from Cuz. He did all 3 camps bot, but did it on a ward. So you think, oh, we saw him move back towards bot side, which is why you see the ward placed by the JDG bot lane and River. They're trying to psych them out, and even you can see Wukong immediately move over towards his blue because he wants to make sure that's not stairs. For the moment, Cuz is kind of playing on the heartstrings of JDG, trying to get them to think he's not in a position to
also see Keith, especially when they gonna get you probably don't even have 2 seconds.
And this is one of the ones that I've actually GG's been screaming about it from the rafters. If you go for the 4th wave and you actually go for the you can pick up Sheen on this first reset, TP back to lane, and you end up incredibly strong. But Keen actually not going to be going for that, just happy enough to pick up a longsword and walk his way back to lane for the moment.
But going to be spell shielded there. The answering knockup is good there from missing. Health trade going to be 1 out here by JDG as Cuz collects himself a Rift Scutlet Knight. Not a lot of mana. He's going to be going back home here as aiming down to 300 in the bottom lane. JDG kind of taken over down here. Looking pretty good with this Sivir Rakan.
Navi looking for the invade on this top side. We'll spread out that the chickens have respawned. That would also now give information to KT that Wukong is on this bottom half of the map, but I don't think they really want to go for too much. Knight doesn't have control over mid. It's more about, hey, can we get safety here for our bottom lane to finally crash this wave and maybe pick up a turret place?
Bit of an opportunity perhaps as Aiming, I believe, ghosted to lane just to make sure that he could get back after this reset, hopefully get the cannon.
And Aiming, there's a reason why I was actually expecting him to continue banning the Xayah. It's because it's not traditionally one of his best champions, right? It's been the Zeri, the Kai'Sa. Those players really excel. BDD might be in trouble here, but will respect, not going to get taken out. But the fact that he already is being put this far behind in the pure 2v2 with Kanavi not even doing so much as looking towards that bot lane, it's a really big early win for JDG.
Goes though, trying to see if you can spot out Kanavi here again. A huge amount of this again is the information game to make sure you can actually follow. Knight's in a position here to come across though, so Cuz does need to be careful.
Warrior Trickster now on cooldown. Cuz doesn't have his aftershock though, as he's just trying to fight this one out for the chickens. How's the smite fingers, boys? See how they do lock this one down. Meanwhile, Missing is going to get hooked. Gets taken down extraordinarily low. Gets a bit of a heal though, as the Gleaming Quill did connect. And KT, they'll have to just accept a decent trade here on this bottom side. Unless Lehens can find a hook. Here in the mid lane, Kanavi and Knight just trying to get Knight a good back timer, trying to get this lane in a better position.
Yeah, trying to see if they can spot out PDD before he hits that level 6. For everyone at home, see the purple bar just underneath the faces of each of the champions. That's what is the XP bar. So you can see Knight there just ticking over to level 6. So keep your eyes on it as Kanavi and Cuz find each other again.
Yeah, Kanavi down a bit of a shot here across the bow. Cuz finds the Shattering Strike as just a 1v1. Neither of these bottom lanes too interested. Wave getting stacked up here by JDG. They have some control. That means Cuz has to back away. And into the river goes Knight as well. Always seems to be hovering, ready to help out here towards this bottom side. This is that play that you were talking about, Dacta. They're going to go for this first dragon. Don't think KT can do too much about it, although Cuz is moving in towards this bottom lane, looking for a possible gank angle. They do get the spell shield out of Ruler. That's now on cooldown, and now they're looking to chase out Cuz. In the meantime, they are just taking the dragon.
And this is where the early lane pressure from Ruler and Missing really pays off, right? The fact that they have a higher health bar, that they have Prio on the wave. Cuz tries to go for something there with both summoners being available for Ruler as well as Missing. There's just no shot you're ever going to get them as Ruler flashing his jet. That's like he's flashed multiple different ones as well. And maybe Lehens caught an eye of that one. Of course, was on Gen G for all of last year. SpeedyD eats a shockwave, but not going to be too bothered. And the Halo Blades, I think, really allows the Azir to play pretty consistently aggressive in that mid lane.
And you can see the results. I mean, a 10 CS lead for BDD in that mid lane. He's been doing a great job of punishing Knight in these early stages. And you can see once you get access to that Orianna ult, if there's no objectives up, you might as well toss it out. It does push BDD back. It does give you the opportunity to maybe crash this wave, but he doesn't know BDD's healed and doesn't know that Cuz is here.
Yeah, Knight, not a lot of mana available here, as we can see, but is going to be able to get that last cog out and does manage to thin out the wave. BDD catches it, and Cuz slinks back into the fog of war, grabs some more of his camps. As far as gold is concerned, there is nothing to talk about really at all, outside of the fact that one dragon was picked up by JDG.
And it's a pretty uneventful early game, and I think looking at the champions, you can argue that both really benefit from this, right? I think that the combination of specifically Azir and Xayah has been really tough to deal with in late game. Jax is self-explanatory, and then on the other end, you have Sivir and Orianna, so really will come down, I think, to how the mid game is set up here, because either of these two teams, if you do get control and you start getting ahead, hit those item breakpoints, it can be really hard to consistently fight fights on the other end.
The Hens has level 6 here, though. You can see Missing just ticking over. Ruler and Aiming both still don't have theirs available, as Ruler just now gets it. I think a lot of this for JDG is we want to try and slow push out this bot wave, so we can either look towards the Rift Herald or at least get some hurt onto Lehens. Orianna having that quicker reset in mid also gives her the tempo advantage there. So JDG just slowly but surely kind of working their way up towards this Rift Herald to secure that one again.
Yeah, Lehens actually going to get spotted here by Missing. He does grand entrance over to him. It looks like JDG will just claim this Rift Herald. No contest here from KT, realizing that they were beaten to the punch on this one. Kanavi will collect the iron. That is some money in waiting. Lehens, will he actually invest? No, decides to hold on to it. Depth charge kept in the back pocket is Missing. Once again rotating over BDD, looking for an opportunity, level 8.
The low health bar Missing could set up for a potential play onto the bottom half of the map, though. Missing is trying to hope Knight keep control of mid-wave to prevent that happening, but with Missing now being taken low and having low mana, the Hen's going to be able to move bot, but with Kuz staying on this top end of the map, I don't really think you have an opportunity to really go for much.
Both supports just doing exactly the same thing, invading enemy jungle, setting up a ward, and then immediately recalling. And yeah, I wouldn't have minded KT actually trying to throw an ultimate out there, especially because Herald's gone and Dragon is in 2.5 minutes as they're going up. Kanavi is hiding in the shadows though.
Yeah, Kuz looking for that opportunity. Well done, it comes down. There's the Magnus Storm. First blood goes to Keen though. Empress Divide going to be used for the disengage, and they'll take a plate along with it.
Where'd he go? You blink and 369 is gone. Had his flash, wasn't expected to be burst out that heavily. Even Kanavi invested his flash to try and get there, was too late to the party.
And I think that they knew that Kuz was on his way up, but I don't know if they knew about BDD as well. So I think with this play, they were ready to try and fight for the 2v2. But you see, the moment that BDD shows up, the 100-0 is just there. No drain tanking available, and Kanavi just doesn't get to join the play soon enough.
Great ultimate from BDD to disengage there as well, and that was exactly what I wanted to see from KT. JDG had already gotten control of Dragon, they'd gotten the Rift Herald, they kind of slowly but surely were starting to pick up speed, but disrupting that top side now, getting that kill for the Jax, and using the lane pressure that BDD should be able to get is exactly how KT can try and get this tempo back in their favor.
Not going to be too much of an issue as far as the global objectives are concerned, though. Of course, JDG will be able to get back out onto the map, contest for this next Dragon. Going to be the Mountain here. Will take either team a very long time to take down. Of course, the huge health pool of that particular Dragon. They should still be able to contest Vision.
And the biggest win, I think, there for KT is that they are both getting the teleport from Knight, and Kanavi will not have flash. So that does mean that if they try to contest for this upcoming Drake, which I do think both teams are going to be looking towards, it is something that maybe they get to utilize. Knight, obviously, in mid should still be able to join, but maybe a little bit later, maybe BDD can get an extra back in.
I don't think JDG can contest KT here. I mean, even the fact Radiant Virtue now complete on Kuz, thanks to that assist that he'd had, he's going to be in a great spot. You're going to get a reset coming through first here from BDD. I don't think he'll have his Mythic, but just being in a position to follow up, and also Ruler not being able to capitalize on the fact he had this strong early game to get a Mythic for himself. It just feels like KT are too powerful at the moment, but maybe JDG are feeling the same way, because Missing is very much poking his head in.
Missing is not afraid of anything at all. He hasn't been all tournament, just happy to walk over and gather as much information as he would like.
Sometimes I wish he would be.
Yeah, it is a little bit a bit heart attack worthy, perhaps. As he moves down towards Ruler once again. Lehens still on the chase. Got a bit of a fight here towards his top side as well, as we can see. 369 landing a few of these abilities, but I believe he's already put his World Ender on cooldown. Keen trading ultimates.
Oh, Kanavi does have to find Sunderer done. And KT doesn't look like they're starting a Dragon right now. So should be an opportunity here for JDG to contest. With the Mythic Spike also being available, there's also still a Herald that can be put down. So JDG have the option. Do we go for the 4v4, or do we send the Herald and get some plates?
I think it's going to be the Herald angle. I thought maybe we get BDD try and fully push mid, reset, TP back in with his Mythic, because I'm pretty sure now he should have enough gold for it. But when Mythic's just being plonked down in mid, JDG want to look for the fight.
Yeah, reset comes through on the Dragon. Now it's JDG that is set up. Kuz moving on over, spotted on the ward, Missing always knows what's going on here as BDD is trying to deal with this giant piece of shellfish, and it looks like it is going to be 2 Drakes going over to JDG in trade for no money picked up from that Rift Herald. So 2 plates, I guess.
Cloud?
And it's going to be Earth, Wind, and Fire, boys. This is, we can group tonight, guaranteed. As, okay, Kuz is just going to get caught out. The Magnus Storm is going to be used, but more of just a celebration of the circles. And JDG, they'll grab a red buff as well.
I mean, great pick off. You get the Dragon. I was about to say, as long as KT are playing this safe, they should be able to slow down the pace of the game, give his ear time to scale, look at like aiming, Keen, getting to positions where they're super happy, but Kanavi playing off of the wave pressure that he had, immediately going, and now Keen, what's happening here?
Yeah, I don't know how we got to this point, but it's not exactly great news. 369 really feeling good about how this one's working. Okay. Yeah, Keen doesn't have a lot of options, and now Counter-Strike is on cooldown as well. In comes BDD, though. Keen, can he actually get the kill? There it is for 369. Empress Divide is going to pick that one up, but BDD had to invest his flash, and it's a 1-for-1 in the end.
That was pixels away from Missing from 369. Just barely catches him, the Darkened Blade, and now the TP up to top side just to try and keep that CS in favor of JDG.
Yeah, like that. Able to get the plate on mid. BDD will not be able to pick up the wave and then simultaneously guard the top side plates. As, oh, we've seen Lance in this position before. Can they actually win the 2v2 though? I'm not so sure. Yeah, Lance is like, no, gets cancelled.
He's going to get interrupted as well, as now Ruler gets all of that extra movement speed. Boomerang blade landing as well. Every bit of damage secured by the Sivir. Getting a little bit scary, even with just one item. Of course, the scaling of Sivir is just ridiculous, but not necessarily something that spikes on one.
It means now Lehens is going to be late on the reset. He wants to try and get up towards this Rift Herald. Nissin poking his head in around again, but he knows he's got the advantage when it comes towards moving up towards his top end. Ruler has already disappeared into mid lane to catch that wave, so just a nice opportunity, but we won't get any more information into what happened here. Unfortunately, we're just going to get to see Keen go down.
And here the problem is Keen doesn't actually have any mana available, right? 369 does a really good job of not getting hit by the initial counter-strike and then hits him with the flash. If you invest that flash and BDD still kills you and Keen gets out, could have been a disaster. Instead, you trade 1 for 1, and you're really happy on the play because of the response that came through. As Teleport coming through, aiming.
He's gone real aggressive, does manage to get the Blade Caller onto 369. Bit of a,
wow.
Just gonna do a bit of damage, but I do really like it from Amy.
It's a counterpunch because on the top side of the map, JDG are picking up the Herald.
That's the problem though. They're probably going to pick up top tower if they really want to. You can see Knight is already pushing there, and they could potentially go for the mid lane actually. Top lane's a bit too healthy, but I think you'd be able to trade this pretty effectively. So in the grand scheme of things, I'd rather get this mid lane tower here for JDG than worry about boss.
Well, the lane economy snapshot provided by MasterCard is pretty good for Kanavi. On the other side of things, KT doing all right. Rift Herald going to come down though and try and even that score and maybe even a kill onto the Jax also, but they decided not to commit for it because of course, not going to bite off more than they necessarily need to. No plates game with that turret though, but that is, yeah, not very far away from dead.
It still forces a response though from everyone on KT, and now they're really behind the curve, right? JDG continuously pushing in these side waves and getting a lot of damage down there. Looks like Knight will be able to pick it up. And BDD doesn't hit
misses the Emperor's Divide. Be able to get out of there. Knight only needed the dissonance movement speed for that one as well. Holds on to the flash. Kind of huge here. BDD still without his.
Yeah, I think BDD just tried to get the flash there. Even by yourself, I don't know if you actually have enough damage unless anyone else shows up to take down. Still going to be a win for Knight. Gets the turret, gets to keep his summoners, and gets to go back with an extra bag of gold.
And as well now with a minute until this next dragon, you're going to be in a great position here for JDG. Not having that Emperor's Divide makes it hard to make a play up towards BDD, so you're keeping your eyes on Kuz to see what he can potentially do and finding the pick before this next one starts, because when I look at the items that have been picked up for JDG, they are in such a good spot to try and contend with KT when it comes to this next objective, especially when the resets start to come through for the final little bit for Ruler.
And we just need to see who's going to be able to find the team fight on their terms. JDG, a team incredibly adept at getting that. The Wombo combo from this composition, fantastic. I find it a little bit of a worry though when there is the Azir from BDD on the other side of things, because he can always find these angles. We might see an opportunity here, but the Shattering Strike is going to say no. KT will try and get away. They will be successful.
Yeah, you're starting to see as well. KT's trying to set up side lanes. Already Keen pushing in. But if they don't actually catch anyone on JDG, JDG is going to be able to bounce the waves back. Both teams fighting for this dragon. And I think for KT, this is a must-get. Can't allow JDG to get soul point this early on.
Control of the map, absolutely massive. Keen taking a big chunk there, about a third of his health bar from an attack dissonance combo. These commands from the Orianna. KT looking to close in. It's a familiar area. Opposite sides of the rift, though, for both of these teams. KT still looking to try and get out of here. The Q doesn't land. The Infernal Chains don't work either. Emperor's Divide comes in, but the quickness is too good. BDD trying to escape, but he won't get out. But it's Ruler that manages to take him down, and now Kuz is on the run. Kanavi is looking for him. It's a double for the Sivir, and they are not done yet. In they go once again. The Crashdown tries to get Kuz out, but is Keen going to survive? He is. Still, KT are done with this fight.
Colossal win there for JDG. They're able to take down BDD and Lehens as the people on KT a little bit too far forward. They see the moment of weakness, a lot of investment, but 2 kills, a mid lane turret, and soul point to boot.
And it's an absolute disaster for KT. The positioning there on River just wasn't what they wanted at all. They set up too many angles of attack for JDG, and they just realized it that little bit too late, and that's when the panic starts to set in. And I want to have a look when we get into this replay as to how it actually sets off, because you can see where 369 is coming from. He has an incredible position, but I think the panic ult from KT is what comes back to bite.
I'm also wondering what happened to aiming in that fight, right? Because he wasn't able to actually do any damage. BDD obviously bought a little bit of time, but wasn't nearly enough. And, you know, this is not taking into account that this is JDG. Ruler!
Hook is going to connect there. Ruler going to be taken down underneath his outer turret mid lane. There it is, the Ruler position. It worked out the last game. He's going to get punished for it this time.
Yeah, we've seen this a million times, Atlas. You know, sometimes it's nice to see that something stayed the same as Ruler. And that's actually really big, because that means that there is no flash on the Sivir as we go back to the previous fight.
I want to watch here, though, because you've got the flank here, you've got the flank coming through, but watch these panic ults that come through from BDD and Cuz. So as the ult comes through from BDD, the magnetic storm keeps Kanavi on BDD. It means he doesn't get the separation. BDD's pushed out, and BDD is going down again.
Well, Hens is going to get taken out in this one. Aiming trying to offer some damage back, but they are some tanky members of JDG. Now Cuz, 1 versus 3, but does have BDD waiting in the wings. The magnet storm comes through. BDD trying to get the autos across, is now Aiming is going to join the fight. BDD still at full health, swoops in, picks up Missing. But he's going to dash out of there immediately. Rule is trying to pop up, but he can't actually get to this fight because Kanavi's already dead. Keen looking for an opportunity. Infernal Chains, leap strike to the ward, and Keen gets out.
And it starts off with a great play from Missing and Kanavi, but then KT is able to turn it around. It will be a 1-for-1 trade, I think, but the kills going over to Aiming is a big win for them.
I mean, the fact you get those kills, but also massively whiffed Shockwave by Knight. Does absolutely nothing in that fight, and it means that Kanavi ends up having to go forward, try to get into position where he can follow through, and KT, they needed something to try and slow down this momentum, and that might have just been it.
I think Kanavi was ready to run away with this game, sitting at 1-0 and 3. And it all started with the Hens getting caught.
Very reminiscent of the play the setup towards bot side, right? It's this Rakan Wukong combo that actually is big. And then here, it feels initially like KT overplayed their hand with Cuz getting focused, but this is Aftershock Rel. So Cuz, very tanky, is able to absorb the initial damage.
And I like Missing trying to get onto BDD here to keep him out of the fight, but great positioning, sets it back up. Now watch the Shockwave, flashed away by BDD, so it connects onto absolutely nobody. And then, look at BDD, blinking health bar in the back line. 369 and Ruler late to the fight, because Ruler got picked off in the early stage underneath that mid tower. So KT punishing JDG really well for that overextension.
Yeah, on the hunt was used there by Ruler to try and get into the fight, but just wasn't there for it. Nice opportunity capitalized on there by KT, but it's going to need more than that to get them over the line.
The big thing here is that KT needs to win the next Drake fight. They're a 1k gold down, but if they can get a Drake fight or maybe get a Baron, could be an angle. Missing though.
Okay, Cuz was spotted, I believe, on that trinket. He's the one that thinks that they don't have the information. His grand entrance going to connect, and I don't think too much more is going to come of this. They do manage to clear out vision that Missing has collected. He's just hoarding information. Missing just has he's a database, man.
Yeah, nothing is missing on that database.
No, he's named completely wrong.
I will say, though, it's like, this is exactly how JDG want to play it. If Eddie did a great job of highlighting it coming into today, is like, hey, we want to look for a pick before these objectives fights start off. We don't want you to actually fight us on an even footing. We want to make sure you're behind coming in with no
I think they're
info.
going.
Yeah, they're on the Baron. Ruler's going to move back to the mid lane now. 369 has the earlier track towards this Baron pit. Knight moving in. Yeah, gonna have to back away from this. JDG scoped it out. I do like an opportunistic play. I also like backing away when you feel scared.
I think it's just trying to draw JDG out of the turtle that they had on this bottom side of the map. If you can get them to invest these wards, as you can see on that top end of the map, it makes it a little bit easier then for KT to get a position on that bottom side. At the moment, though, still heavy vision in that bottom side of the map for JDG that they'll look to try and use. Push for Ruler in this mid lane as well. Going to make it very difficult for KT to try and contest when JDG are looking to take this vision back.
And what's really big is that with JDG having the vision control,
Wait,
Aiming
just go?
only has one ultimate, right? Like he can try and get away from either 369 or Kanavi, but if he's not able to position himself immaculately, which has been a really big issue for this player, which is why his Zeri and his Kai'Sa are some of his strongest picks, he won't be able to have a big impact in the team fights, and a lot of the gold is on him. BDD though and Knight both sitting on exactly the same items. Sorkpan boots, Shadow Flame and Ludens. They're basically dealing true damage to any non-tank that they hit.
Right now, we're about to go full A-Ram, though. You're going to see both teams trying to commit, and KT, yeah, they're just going to go for the Baron area again, try and put pressure onto JDG, because if you think KT, if they find a moment like that where BDD gets over the wall, punishes JDG for the lack of information, that's where they can come back. Keen sneaking up through bot side. He hasn't been spotted.
Yeah, he's actually looking for a little bit of engage. I thought he might just start the Dragon by himself and try and take that one down, but instead, KT just regrouping like you were talking about, bit of the K-Ram situation here. And I guess 70% of the players on the Rift right now do kind of fit the bill. We have seen this many times, Chronicler. Let's settle in, shall we?
The thing, though, is that JDG is the one who actually hold all the cards, because they don't have to go for this Dragon. This is just an individual Cloud Drake for KT. So if KT overinvests, JDG just goes to Baron, takes that. There is enough vision, though, and we see Cuz and Lahan's looking as Keen is in a flank.
Yeah, huge flank position. There's the Magnus Storm. We'll see whether Jax can get in here, because Missing has found everyone. Two-man Empress Divide comes in aiming, is starting to pre-hit, but it's a double kill for Ruler. The Sivir is ripping them to shreds, and Keen was too late to this one. BDD did manage to grab one there, but they'll still grab the triple kill, and they'll grab the soul. BDD looks for Missing, but of course, Missing's just fine.
It is a miscommunication on KT as Cuz goes in so deep. Keen isn't there. So KT is forced to commit to this play, but there is no one's actually put enough threat on Ruler. He just gets to stand there and gun them down.
And you're in the blender at that stage. As soon as you try to move through these choke points, Orianna ult, Sivir, Ricochets bouncing through everyone. You called it here. As you get to go in from Lahan's, Missing isn't able to do anything. Ruler gets out of
No one's
position,
at the follow.
so catch him. And Missing is causing so many issues on the back line alongside Kanavi that they can't actually get into a position to threaten onto JDG with where they are. They know moving through that choke point is just going to be the demise of you, so they back off. But TP in towards this scrap.
Oh, they're going to try and go for an aggressive play towards the Baron here. KT, I think they're feeling mighty threatened, but everyone on JDG is ready. There's no way this is going to be working out.
No, certainly not, as Hook is going to get Lahan's in, but he doesn't really want to. This ward will get turned off for now, as BDD dealing with all of these ricochets flying in.
KT are investing everything into this, though. Keen TP, BDD TP. They desperately wanted to make sure that they were going to be on the map to contest this, but it does give an opportunity now for 369 to say, hey, we're going to play it slow, maybe play for Keen, actually.
Yeah, it does get slowed down by the dissonance there. Shockwave is going to pick up Keen. Counter-Strike comes in, but it's not going to be enough. In the meantime, another fight is going to break out. It's 3 versus 4, and JDG are doing all right. Kanavi goes golden for now. Knight takes down BDD, and it's on aiming. If KT are going to make this one quick, it has to be him, but he's dead already. And there's the shutdown to come through, Cuz the last man standing. And JDG, I think they've just gone to match point.
They find their one opportunity for the pick, and immediately they turn for the rest. JDG are hungry. They want to keep pushing forward.
There is a reason why you don't try and match JDG with teamfight to teamfight comp. It's because of plays like that. They invest 2 people to the top side of the map, get a free kill on Keen, and then somehow win the fight on the other end as well.
And it wasn't like they were massively ahead. They are now, and they're going to take down a Nexus as well as JDG. They are 1 step away from the semifinals.
An insane performance from JDG there again. Cool, calm, collected. The LPL #1 seed know once they get a chokehold on a game, they're not going to let it go.
Just an extraordinary performance, and you could see it from that first one team fight from JDG. The whole game, it felt like KT were fighting so far uphill. The early game, extraordinarily even. From that first moment on, when they all got themselves together, JDG were just too strong. And as they move to match point, we are going to head to break. So let's check out some of the behind-the-scenes footage of yesterday's quarterfinal next to the Oppo camp.
Precision is the difference between a butcher and a surgeon. I bargained my soul. Imagine what a true ice hex tech device could do. Everything has a place. Forgetting yours. Endless. Destination. The survivor of Piltover. Treasures of the ages. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Shut down. Results are all that matters.
Anyone else want to try?
Your turret has been destroyed. I am employed when negotiations fail. Rampage. Outskirts. Double kill. Shut down. Sharpens every blade. I have all manner of marvelous things. Killing spree. Progress is served by technology, not controlled by it. An enemy has been slain. Well, that's done.
Feathers fly!
An ally. Dominating. An ally has been slain. Ace. Turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Self-made women. An enemy has been slain. You have been slain. Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed.
Feathers fly!
Down. Shut down. Enemy double kill. defeat.
To put their base, say, look, we've invested too much in Keen on the top side. He will be fine to scale. We need to get Amy and Lehens in a position where they can carry this game.
Much better matchup this time around, it feels like, for Aiming as well, especially considering the fact that he has the Lulu. Lehens is on a bully, and he's very good. That style of play, Counter-Strike going to be used nicely here for Keen on this top side. And BDD trying to put pressure on tonight. Feels like BDD has had a lot of priority when he has the matchup to do it. See whether that's going to continue here in this lane.
And we'll see. A really big wave is being stacked up. We're also seeing Kanavi actually pivot here towards the bot side. I'm wondering if KT actually wants to try and go for this, or maybe catch Kanavi in the rotation. Cuz is making his way over.
Could blast cone in there, but doesn't actually know exactly where Kanavi is.
Oh, he's going to wait it out. He's going to try and catch him off guard. Or he might try to go for Knight.
I think it's Knight in the mid lane he's looking for. Lehens is starting to move up. Either way, it's going to be a mismatch, either mid or in this jungle setup.
Well, Cuz, completely unseen, he can blast cone over, but instead the Vault Breaker is going to be charged. Finds it there onto Kanavi. And now it's a Smite War. Ward is in the brush there for KT, is missing, moves on up. I believe it was Cuz that secured him. Gonna be able to take that one away from Kanavi. Already a leg up, but they're looking for more. Vault Breaker connects once again. The flash forward from Lehens, but Kanavi's able to get over the wall with his own. And now the grand entrance comes forward. They know that Lehens is vulnerable. Ruler is looking for it. Kanavi finds it first. Blood goes to Ruler, and BDD finds a scatter onto 3. Kanavi goes down, and now Ruler is running. Cuz is gonna push him away, and Knight not gonna be able to get in on this one. KT answer back.
And it's mayhem here early on. Both AD carries are able to pick up a kill. And a lot of summoners down here as KT, the early invade will end up. Oh, Keen, careful there.
The thing is, though, Knight actually invested his TP to get into that. They saw the invade was a potential here. Knight reset, TP'd back into lane, but couldn't actually battle BDD for control over the wave before BDD to come across. 369 will push Keen away, but it means that actually if you look at BDD, he's going to be able to shove this wave in, get a much better opportunity in this mid lane thanks to that TP ward, and that'll open up KT to try and make some more plays off the back of this.
And you see the confidence here for KT, right? Going in hard on Kanavi. This from Lehens, though, a little bit over eager. I think if the rotation is already there, as BDD is in trouble.
Yeah, meanwhile, in live, you can see BDD struggling here. The dissonance connects, there's the slow, and the punch the ground from Kanavi. Locks down the kill on the Syndra. Without flash, kind of a sitting duck there in that mid lane. Nicely capitalized on by Kanavi.
Cuz needed to sit there with BDD to make sure he could crash that wave, then get the TP back in. I mean, if you had this sort of purchase up against a literal mana crystal for Knight, you would have been in such a good spot for BDD. But now Knight gets control of the wave, he's able to reset, and this is just those little mistakes from KT now that JDG are punishing.
Also seeing the fact that 369 is winning this matchup early is kind of insane, because you're not really supposed to have this big of a lead early on, right? And it speaks to the mastery of the champion. It's after you get lost chapter that the matchup becomes really...
he baited it! He baited it!
Kanavi moving over. He was spotted pretty early, but Keen gonna need to flash that one. Sonic Wave was gonna connect, and he had to invest it.
And you can see there for 369, the whole way you play this matchup is body slam the counter strike. By using the body strike early, he just invites Keen to go for it. And as you say, it ends up being in a position now where the wave's in a terrible spot. Kanavi has good control, and now Cuz trying to respond to that play on the top side by getting Dragon on the bottom end.
Should be able to grab this, of course. Kanavi looking for a bit of a play here in the mid lane once again. He's on the prowl. Nice scatter though, going to connect there from BDD. Going to be able to space himself away from Knight and Kanavi. His flash halfway done, as KT will be able to secure this first round.
The one upside is that with Kanavi showing a mid-wave, Keen actually gets to fix his wave state. We'll see if 369 is able to hold him off, as the first rake will go over to KT. It's a win that they needed, because thus far, feels like JDG have been getting the better end of the trades on the map.
Look at Keen's health bar though. He ended up taking a really bad trade, and you still have ult there for 369. This wave still not in the best of spots, so Keen tries to fix it, but actually comes back to bite him there in that top end.
Do you think it's pushing into him now? So with the heal he'll be able to pick up from the fruit in the river, should be able to at least withstand the pressure. But yeah, again, 369 piloting this matchup so well as Kanavi looking for a lane gank here.
Man's on the prowl. Knockup is going to connect there onto Lehens, who still doesn't have flash. Kanavi comes in with the safeguard. Might be enough space here for KT. JDG getting some much needed control of this bottom side. They'd been falling a little bit behind.
Something we also haven't talked about is that Lahens actually went for exhaust, right? So with these aggressive plays from Kanavi, really have to take into account the amount of damage reduction.
Oh no, is he going to get cancelled again? Yeah.
That's
Didn't know the ward was there because the Q went into the brush and it looked like he was just farming.
Yeah, really nice job there from KT to actually stop the back. It interrupts Kanavi, who's now going to reset. Cuz going up towards his top side, wants to steal away the red. Won't quite hit 6 off this camp, but at least they can try and play for 369 in that top lane and even out the flash on the top end.
Another engage to come forward here is aiming, getting very aggressive. Blade Caller, nice little snare onto Ruler and missing. They're going to be able to shove this wave in, go for that reset that we were looking for. Cuz's punishment is collecting the Bramble back. He will be able to secure that one for himself. 20 seconds on the Rift Herald.
Kanavi also won't know because he's going for his Raptors first, so it means that Cuz's position, at least right now, not going to get given away just yet. I do think, though, with the fact that Gragas is there, is this healthy, plus has Flash, actually looking for a gank opportunity without 6 feels basically impossible. And this counter matchup by 369, I think going to become a bigger and bigger problem for KT as this Jax. This matchup isn't going to get better.
The thing is, though, now not having ult on 369, I think you missed out on the window to try and fight for Rift Herald. You could already see the reset come through from missing. You don't have back stealed. Kanavi doesn't have 6 either.
Yeah, Kanavi going to look for this Rift Herald. Lahan's in position. Aiming's already up here as well. Looks like the Lee Sin's going to have to exit the situation. BDD keeping Knight at bay, missing, moving forward. JDG a little bit split. We'll see whether they can actually fight for this one because you can see 369 does have the inside track. That is going to be the secure on the Rift Herald. And now 369 has to flash. Counter-strike. Not going to be there. Keen didn't have his flash available to catch up to that Gragas. He's just too nimble. KT, they do get the prize.
And missing the red there for Kanavi meant he didn't hit 6. Scuttle Crab ticked Kills over to 6. And now he's got Rift Herald. He's got reinforcements, and 369 might be in trouble.
Yeah, a little bit of a lane swap here is okay. BDD gonna have to flash once again. They're keeping that one on cooldown. He needed to use it. See Knight actually getting some control back in the lane.
Oh, Cuz trying to look for a punish on Knight here. But Knight positioning so safely. Yeah, not really an opportunity here. And yeah, if Kanavi is 6, I don't even know if BDD, even with the flash, will be okay there. As
okay. Yeah, Keen's here towards his bottom side, and he gets the red. Okay, Kanavi just thought that he was going to have to try and smite and hope, and it wasn't quite enough. So Keen is now a Jax with a red, and that feels pretty good, I think.
Especially since Kanavi was like, well, BDD, our Cuz is coming across. I don't know if I can stick around for long enough to actually take this. So Keen just pokes his head in, says, all right, yeah, you're not going to get this. Manages to steal it away. Question mark for me, though, is, all right, what's the story with this Rift Herald? Like, Cuz, are you going to actually try and move in towards mid? Maybe look for a play with BDD? Or, which I think is the correct call in this situation, just get as much gold as possible onto Aiming. If Aiming's able to control the pace of these fights, he's going to be in such a good spot to be your carry. And he kind of has to be when you look towards like the burst damage that BDD has won't be enough to bring you across the finish line when it comes to these engagements.
I'd also be looking as to what extent KT are able to build bigger leads, because we've seen in the last 2 games that going even just isn't enough against JDG with how well they team fight. You need to get more, and right now I think a second Dragon would be a really big win. It's up in 40 seconds, but 369 Red are already able to set up some decent trades here on Keen. They're going to try and look for a possible punish just before the Drake.
Well, Cask is not quite going to work out. Kanavi is waiting for this one. I think it might have just been a straight-up bait there from 369.
Oh, yeah.
Keen not going to go for it. Now, Cuz and Knight. Oh, they do manage to land the scatter, but BDD is just going to get a Rift Herald from Cuz and not much more.
Knight a little bit too close to the towers, so they don't want to overcommit towards that, especially with Dragon in just a couple of seconds. So they will just back away. We'll get the tower plates in the mid lane going across and the control over River. You can see 369 has to back away because he's, well, actually, at least back further out of the lane, so he's not getting caught up by KT as they move down.
Do note that the only ultimate that isn't available right now is 369's ultimate. We'll see if they actually want to try and go for this. There's also basic, I think there's no mythics done across the board. There's a big spike a lot of champions will look for, and I think KT are just going to give this one up.
Yeah.
I'm not able to find anything on the cross map either. Might get a teleport out of 369, but that is going to be all.
I was kind of surprised to see KT, the way they skirted around the outside of the Dragon Pit. Like, they got Rift Herald mid, they had the push on Knight, they could have moved into River and really established themselves there, but they almost felt scared to approach River despite the fact that 369 didn't have ult. And now KT kind of setting up once more, 1-for-1 on Dragons, and trying to see if they can find a push onto this bottom side.
Yeah, Lehen's just being as frustrating as possible with repeated glitter lances, aiming. Farming out nicely though, has about a 20 CS advantage, making this Xayah matchup into the Kai'Sa still look pretty Xayah favored as Cuz looks for the Vault Breaker, doesn't connect it onto Kanavi, who will now make his way out via the chickens. Lehen's not going to be able to do too much to missing here.
Missing's been doing a great job of trying to match the jungle pressure though, as maybe he needs it.
Yeah, that is his own chicken thrown back at him. I believe, did Cuz just manage to get that somehow?
I think
he's coming down with the force of will. Interesting. Anyway, Kanavi is just being tracked all over the place. Cuz looking for even more information. Fully gathered by JDG at the same time, is now aiming. The one caught on his own. Killer Instinct comes in. There is the Featherstorm, and they may have moved a little bit far forward as BDD is going to show up. Can he find the scatter is the question. As the knockup comes in, there is the scatter we were talking about. Ruler with just a ghost, and he'll be just fine.
Gonna be a big win there. You're able to get a teleport out just in exchange for your ghost. For JDG, see BDD should with the Giga Cone to be able to make his way back to his own lane very quickly. So punish isn't going to be too bad. As Everfrost now done for 369. If you thought the Gragas was annoying to play into before Keen, it's going to get a whole lot worse. Although teleporting in the middle of the lane, let's kind of help him out.
Yeah, and kind of like mismatching the body slam with the Everfrost as well, but immediately
it's fine.
369 answers back. And this at least should give a little bit more control to 369 again in these side waves. He's doing a good job of pushing. You kind of want to get to a position as Keen where you can just ignore the damage from 369 and take terrors, but since we've kind of seen that swap over to the AP Gragas build versus what used to be the tank, you just don't really get a chance to fully ignore 369 before he's cleared out the waves entirely.
Yeah, teleport does come through. He's going to avoid the lane completely. Heads towards that bottom side. Ruler was pushing that one in. Teleport used bottom means that KT fighting around here could be a little bit dangerous. There's the flash forward from Cuz though. They're looking for their target. Polymorph comes in, the exhaust lands onto 369. Aiming is looking for that kill. Takes so long to kill him. They're 1-for-1 so far, but there's the flash forward. They lock that one down. The unleashed power onto Kanavi gets his flash. And he looks to escape. KT looking all right in the 2-for-1.
It's a whiff from 369. He tries to flash body slam flash onto Aiming, but only connects with Lehen's. And Aiming then is free firing the entire time, even missing, going two different directions with Knight. It's an absolute disaster.
Cuz.
Yeah, Vault Breaker is going to get him out of there. And that was BDD though. He would have been dead.
Yeah, 100% Cuz is able to make his way out. And I actually think it was Lehen's that set up play initially because he goes in aggressively on Knight as Knight is trying to walk past towards the top and where they have more control, and it forces, or it gets the crown on cooldown. So then the immediate response from Cuz is with the polymorph, there's no ability to flash in, and as you point out, 369, the exhaust I think really big, allows Lehen's to live for so long, even gets the knock up onto Knight, and it then allows KT to trade favorably in this fight.
Not being able to actually get onto Aiming, as you say, is like, it's just so difficult. He's got so much damage. Now missing, has to back away. They're trying to move into position here to take over mid.
And Herald actually being picked up because of that earlier play by KT, who are looking to take control in this mid game.
Yeah, and thanks to Mastercard, the lane economy snapshot looking pretty good here for KT. Maybe we will have to find Silver Scrapes, but 369 has something to say about it. They take the Featherstorm from Aiming. But thankfully, he was able to press the button.
That's now Aiming without ulti for the next Dragon, though. And I think that's the timing that JDG were trying to look for. It will be a very small opportunity. You still have flash there for Aiming as well. But if you can get missing with a flash of his own onto position, onto Aiming, as the Dragon spawns, that's what JDG will have to try and play for here.
And it's Chemtech Soul and 3 apiece for both of these teams on the board. I do think that these crazy powered up plants are actually going to be really interesting in this game. I think that like the Mega Scryer as well, pretty cool. Don't tell Valdez, but I'm actually kind of approving the Chemtech Soul this time around.
I love the chaos.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I mean, before we got into this, you were talking about like, oh, I want a Chemtech Rift so I can have BDD on Nico.
Yeah, but we wanted
going in.
Nico. Yeah.
But I was going to say, you can do that for Missing, where Missing ends up just blasting itself into position with an ult. So now, Missing, you can see how sneaky he's trying to be right here. He wants to be the one to make that play onto KT. They have no idea Missing's here.
Oh. BDD is so far up. He still doesn't have his
flash
available.
He's got to be dead.
Oh no, Missing is going to show himself. BDD tries to scatter to get him out of the way, and he's not going to avoid this one. He's just going to get taken down. Didn't have a stopwatch, and even if he did, he would have just been dead. And now it is going to be a Drake for JDG, you have to assume.
And Missing never committed the ultimate, so he's still in a position where he can threaten that with the flash. KT have to back the hell away. And I'm keeping my eyes on what Keen wants to do, because he's looking up towards this Orianna, who's a little bit vulnerable, especially after KT take this mid lane tower.
So one Chemtech Drake in trade for this outer turret in mid lane. If KT can move towards the top side, then maybe they're going to be able to even out that trade. But with BDD falling down, does skew it in favor of JDG.
Oh, nice. You're being so disrespectful.
Well, no, because they have TP and Knight still has Crown. So, the TP!
Okay, in they come. Keen looks for it. It's 369 that they go for. First scout of the week does come through, and there's a cease and desist. Gameplay button comes in, and that is 2 for free for KT.
It's a 2v5! Well, JDG were like, we can take this, and that is coming back to bite them. KT pounce immediately, and they'll move to mid to defend the tower.
Keen, I'm like, where are you going? He's going to get tagged.
You're going to connect. Their killer instinct comes in. Ruler wants it. Keen is not going to die just yet.
Ooh. Oh, Missing might be caught out here. It's only Cuz though, so should be fine. Eat some fruit.
Yeah, are we ever? Like,
never dies,
Missing,
man.
He just doesn't
We're
die.
giving it to the chaos of the rift. I love this. Let's go.
That's my Chemtech Rift.
They do manage to take the outer turret in the mid lane. Definitely good news. A lot of things really opening up around this map right now.
Oh, aiming.
Kanavi. Oh dear. Another Feather Storm put straight on cooldown. There's the kick, goes through Lehans. It's nicely done there. As Keen dives in, Kanavi might be out of position. He should have a safeguard relatively soon.
BDD.
And now the scatter of the week not going to work out here. There's a flash from Cuz, and he picks it up. The Mega Cone to disperse the players. And now Cuz could be on the wrong side of this. Missing, lurking. Lehans finds him. And a grand entrance comes in. I mean, we're not going to be engaging on this one. Just buttons being pressed all over the place, gentlemen.
I think JDG needs to cool it on the button pressing, though. You TP to the top side, you completely mess it up. Then you try to make this play here, completely mess it up. Calm down with the button pressing, even the right clicks as well. Give yourself some time to get back into position.
Easy on the keyboards, gentlemen.
Particularly because this is exactly what KT wants, right? This is, I think, a composition that excels if they can pick off targets one by one. Use the CC chain that they have available between Polymorph, Vi, Syndra, and Jax to take out individual targets, because when the dive on topside happened, I was a little worried. Crown still had to be procced, 369 was coming in, but the CC chain is so powerful that it doesn't really allow JDG to fight or to play the game unless you are ready and have a counterplay available when someone is attempting to get picked off.
Also so good at keeping people alive on KT with like aiming, being able to get out. You got like the opportunity for Keen to leap back out. Exhaust, the heals, the Lehens as well, having the wall growth. It's so difficult to just kill someone if KT are going for these dives. So at the moment, JDG again missing on a mission to get in behind Cuz, but Cuz, what can he do here?
Wait, who's flanking who?
Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone's flanking everyone.
I'm losing track.
Lehens is flanking Missing, while Kanavi is flanking Lehens, and Ruler is killing a ward. Cuz is still here. Of course, finds a Vault Breaker onto Missing, not the target. Cease and desist actually going to be invested here. He's dead. There's the leap strike. Keen's going to lock it down. I thought I'd never see the day. The Missing's overextended because he just seems to survive. Not that time.
The flanks were a puzzle and we just couldn't see the whole picture.
No,
but eventually KT bring those pieces together, and they brought them together in front of the Baron as well. I don't think they can immediately turn over towards this, but this is going to give them a ton of control to set up vision and start to push JDG back.
And they do need to clear out control, because if you look at the minimap, look at how much vision there is still available here for JDG. So even if KT was like, okay, Missing's dead, we want to try and go for something, there was plenty of opportunity to try and punish for the JDG, so KT not going to take the risk. But this is feeling like the type of messy game where KT continuously gets to keep the pressure on their opponents.
And they get the opportunity to set up for big kills on towards Cuz, 204. He's going to be able to put the hurt onto Ruder, focus him down. And when you look at the opportunities for JDG to try and play it back, you have to burn so many different things before you can really get access to people like aiming. When you've got the wall growth, exhaust, flash, the ultimate for the Xayah as well, it's so hard to just kill aiming.
Oh, the W from Missing, he knew.
Yeah.
Well done.
Nicely done. And KT Just going to get this mid lane in order. I want to go back to that chaos that we had before. That was crazy.
Give it 30 seconds. We got next dragon
there we go.
And it's going to go insane.
All right, here we go. We might have something here, but no. Cuz not going to find the knockback with his Vault Breaker. Just going to get over that wall with his next one. Take down these control wards. These Mega Scryer's Blooms working out nicely is missing once again. Going to be discovered. Cease and Desist comes in, and KT are bearing down on them. There's the Vault Breaker, and Cuz just does it himself.
And Missing goes from not dying in what feels like the entire series to twice in a row. There is still a lot of cooldowns available for JDG though, so I don't know if KT wants to try and go for Nash.
One stun, they got them!
There it is, the Unleashed power to fly through as well. Knight down to 50%. They should be able to get themselves out of here. Okay, that wasn't even the Unleashed power. My goodness, it's just so much damage.
And that's the thing. BDD is getting to a position with the Shadow Flame where he hurts like hell if you give him that opportunity. Still, looks like JDG, they're gonna right, second dragon for KT, it's a Chem dragon, we don't care, let's try and get this play on the top side. But immediately you're seeing the response coming through from KT. Xayah starting to lean in towards this top side, Lehen's covering for Kanavi coming over the wall. BDD killing nice!
There it is! Oh, the gameplay button, it's not gonna be quite enough. Didn't quite calculate it. And Knight, now he just teleported back, so he's gonna have to go back home again unless he can get some of his health from these big old honey fruits.
But it does mean that the attempt from JDG to overload the top half of the map doesn't actually end up working. If Knight is alive and gets to guide the wave in, they might look for more, but now they have to wait for the next wave. We'll see if Keen is able to actually pick himself up. He gets the inner, that's so much gold.
KT is looking like game number one again, controlling the map, dictating the pace of these fights, and again, Aiming and Lehen's having control over the bot side means that Ruler just isn't that big of a threat. And now Cuz, he wants more chaos!
Yeah, there it is once again. The cease and desist comes through. The flash comes out from Kanavi. Doesn't want to get himself in trouble. Teleport to come forward from Keen. He really wants to join this. And they might be thinking that it's Baron time, but in goes the quickness from Missing. Great knockup, but there is so much damage on KT. He's not going to be doing that one again anytime soon. And JDG, oh, they're going to get stunned. There's a flash over from Keen. Looking for even more with his counter strike, and 369 will be pounded. And KT get another.
It looks like JDG are going to take it for a ride on the roller coaster. And they're not liking it.
There was no way that this series cannot end in a 5 game. After all the doubts, after everything, KT want to push us there, and Baron is in their sights. Knight and Ruler are all that's left.
Well, Ruler wants to try. Shockwave is massive on the BDD. Lance goes down as well, and now the Killer Instinct comes forward. Aiming is looking for it, but Ruler says, not today, buddy. And they're games. After all the doubts, after everything, KT want to push us there, and Baron is in their sights. Knight and Ruler are all that's left. Well, Ruler wants to try. Shockwave is massive on the BDD. Lehens goes down as well. And now the Killer Instinct comes forward. Aiming is looking for it, but Ruler says, not today, buddy. And they're even able to catch out Keen, who's looking for Kanavi. It was so good until it was just so bad for KT.
I got excited. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it.
And the roller coaster comes crashing down as Knight and Ruler say, no, you will not take the Baron. And JDG turn it around.
And that is a shockwave for the tier list, gentlemen. Let's have a look at it again.
I mean, this was gorgeous. Ruler just playing outside of vision, moves in stealthed to catch BDD, set up the shockwave for Knight, and this is not the first time we've seen Knight find these moments in games like this, hiding these orbs, these balls on Orianna to set up these massive plays, and KT are left routed as they finish off Keen.
And if Keen was there, they might have been able to actually take him down, but it's the fact that towards topside, Keen was trying to stand guard, and Ruler, just the absolute lack of fear just to E in there as Kaisa gets JDG to Rebel Baron power play.
And it's so reminiscent of the first time you got to see Knight pick up a title for himself. Summer 2020, he was on the Syndra where he hid just outside of vision to find this big moment to strike. It was at a dragon. This time once more hiding just over the wall with another orb of a different description to set up a play that might have just taken this game out of the hands of KT.
And look at the win probability powered by AWS. You can see it took a real nosedive after that for KT. They do have, of course, they still have decent amount of gold here. Slight advantage, but it really feels like momentum has shifted. The Rebel Baron power play is still continuing to tick northward. This could be up to 3,000 as this inner turret is going to be taken down. There was a lot of standing gold on this map, and you can see Cousin BDD are in the top lane.
Yeah, they're
going to be able to
inhib
take
for
this inner turret, but the inhib should just be taken down here by JDG. If 4-man strong, still looking to press forward, and 369 might be able to stop the backs. Exactly right, JDG, they do just take the inhibitor, and they're not looking for too much more. But still, that is not an inhib in trade, that is just an inner turret here.
Cousin BDD are trying to see if they can find 369 as he steps away, though. He's playing this so safe, hasn't seen them reset, so gonna just back it on up. JDG clearing out the spot side jungle as they go. Do they find Cousin BDD?
I think they spot them on that with that control.
Wait, who finds who
Are we
again?
flanking who and stuff again? Dagda, I'm confused. I'm not sure quite what's going on here.
I don't think they can get to Rulo. No, with the speed up. But maybe it allows KT to take some control here. But it looks like instead, JDG just gonna get everyone out of there. Extraction successful. And the gold and dragons will be dead even as we go towards this next Drake fight.
The items aren't so even, though. Look at Ruler. 3 items now complete on towards this Kai'Sa because he benefited off of those kills. Knight's going to be able to finish his Void Staff. Well, actually, probably not quite, just before the 30-second mark on this. But KT, do they find a roaming Gragas?
Well, he's looking for the back. It's empowered, but there it is, the Everfrost to try and keep him alive. But I have a feeling that even with his Zhonya's, he is still going to die. That is, yeah, that's...
JDG are on the way.
Yeah, they are. They're looking to try and help him out, but that's not going to work out. 4-3-6-9. Can they catch them out of position, or can they just take down some turrets? They don't have a wave, so it looks like the answer is no for now.
And it will mean that they're able to make their way over towards the Dragon Pit first here. This is just for Soul Point. KT have a lack of control. We'll see if they want to try and go for this nonetheless.
Look how little was used, though. It's only the ult from BDD.
Yeah,
and he wants
teleport flank. I don't know about this one. It could be dangerous immediately. He is going to go into stasis, but the shockwave was put down. The Void Secret Rule finds it. Kanavi finishes it off. The Featherstorm is going to be used. Aiming is the last hope here for KT. And the cease and assist goes down onto Ruler. KT is still trying to find it, though. Keen gets one back onto the jungler. But into the back line was Cuz, and he is going to be taken down right there. And as it sits, it's 2 for 2.
In the 4 versus 5, though, JDG are able to get the 2 for 2. They're able to get the dragon, and it's these magnificent plays. The individual performers from JDG are stepping up massive in Game 4.
And I guess it was a 2 for 1 because 369 was already dead.
Exactly. And the big thing there, I think the call from KT to try and fight, 100% correct. You might not get another opportunity where you are fighting a 5 versus 4, but the problem was that TP flank from BDD, even with stopwatch available, you can't do that against JDG. They are not going to mess up the timing. That shockwave from Knight, pixel perfect, so BDD doesn't get to flash it, and he's down before the fight begins.
And again, Ruler playing on a knife's edge here. This man does not have cleanse, but he's willing to put himself in harm's way to get the kill onto the Syndra with Kanavi, then reposition behind the Jax that's revving up that counter-strike to take him down. He's been so clutch with his positioning on this Kai'Sa. It's insane.
Well, they just briefly got notice of missing. He's by himself all the time, so they may not have expected that he had a couple of friends here in position. 4 members of JDG just roaming the KT jungle right now. Tides have turned so incredibly quickly in favor of the LPL first seed here. They are bearing down on KT now.
And it's so remarkable how oppressive JDG feel, because the goal is even as Cuz.
There's the knock-up. Do manage to get him over the wall there to relative safety. We've got fights happening all over the place as Knight is fighting Keen. He manages to get the shockwave. He goes golden. Can he survive? Are the rest of JDG going to get here? There's the quickness used by missing, and now it's Keen that could be in trouble, but he does have the counter-strike. There's the Unleashed Paradise 369 that pays for Knight's sins, and missing might be getting the same treatment.
He's going deep.
That is so incredibly deep. The Cuz is the one that pays the price. At 1 for 1, it's fine.
They got mega count, and then meanwhile the bot lane wave is pushed in hard, and if Cuz stays alive there, KT might have gone a Baron, but instead it's just going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
But they have to give up control over the Baron. That's the Nexus turret going down. Baron is in 8 seconds. JDG are back on the map, and 369 is TP. They need to deal with this wave while keeping pressure on the Baron area.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, KT is sacrificing Nexus turrets just to try and go for this fight. It was almost extraordinary, but the fact that Cuz went so extraordinarily far, you kind of wish that you had an abort button on that particular R button there. You do not. Cuz was committed, and now JDG, they're going to start off. The Baron is going down extraordinarily quickly. Ruler has so many items. Keen has teleported in. Can they find a team fight, though, is the question. The Baron is out of it. And Keen, he goes golden, but it's going to be so hard to survive this. Counter-Strike or no, Shockwave is a bit of a hula hoop, but Ruler is still going to say goodnight to Keen. There's the shutdown onto him. They take a blue buff, and now JDG just looking to press ever further forward with their Baron buff now in hand, with a big gold lead starting to build. This is really feeling like the 3-1 angle for JDG.
The waves aren't really in position for JDG right now, though. None of them are pushed in, so at least for the moment, KT will be able to hold strong, get the resets in. They need to buy time for Keen to come back up, but this is going to be a tough one, especially with only a single Nexus turret remaining. JDG want to try and close it out here with this Baron buff.
We'll see, though. There is still 2 minutes remaining here for JDG. Bot lane inhibitor is now back up for KT, and that should be the first angle of attack for JDG. No turret standing there. Their Rebel Baron power plays have been impeccable, as missing just mega coning all over the place.
It is a dangerous tool in his hands, absolutely, for everyone.
Ruler!
He just looks for Lehan's aiming. Gonna get the wild growth. Missing goes forward, and he's the one that might be taken down here as Aiming's moving forward. Ruler gets exhausted, but he's still gonna convince Aiming to exit the fight. And now Kuz is too far in. He tries to queue away, and somehow it just works out for the JDG 80 carry. They'll take the inner turret, and I don't think they're done there.
How the hell are JDG still up and swinging? The Kanavi wants to go, still has the kick. Tower will fall.
30 seconds on Kuz. KT are going to try and hold on, but I don't know if they can.
Mid lane inhib is going to go down. They do have 1 siege minion available. They're going to have to wait for some waves, though, as they're getting to work on this bottom lane inhibitor. Keen Counter-Strike now on cooldown just for a little bit, but we're pretty late into this game.
15 seconds on Kuz.
Yeah, BDD, can he actually execute someone? Scatter goes wide, in goes Keen. Looks for the opportunity onto Missing, but he's so slippery, and now the Nexus is exposed. JDG a few auto attacks away from the semi-finals as the kick comes in. Aiming tries to stand his ground, but the Nexus is being fired.
They end it! What? The cannon minion got one last shot off and they end the game!
That's how it's done, gentlemen. JDG will be heading to the semi-finals, and KT Rolster will have to start again next year.
Cool, calm and collected as always for JDG.
Yeah, no worries.
Not even close. And to be fair, you know, the ending might have been close, but the way that JDG was able to play out these team fights and regain control after KT tried to introduce so much chaos is remarkable.
What a moment. That is another brick paved. The Golden Road still on the table, and here I just completely got it after this one. Him and Rapid Star certainly trying incredibly hard with KT this year. But JDG, I just don't think that they can be stopped. They are so incredibly good, such a well-oiled machine. It's just the hope that was gained as KT, a well-deserved bow. They deserve to be here. This was much closer than I think a lot of people expected. JDG just too good.
I think KT showed, though, that JDG can't bleed. I mean, game 1, they played absolutely impeccably. This game in game 4 was down to the wire. 1 or 2 plays that had gone the way of KT, and we would have been going to that game 5. That Baron could have been that game 5 moment for KT. And as you say, deserved bow. This has been an incredible performance from KT Rolster here today.
And Shockwave is going to be in my nightmares for a long time.
Again, the fact that Ruler is just like, no, that's fine. I'll E in, because that can be also where you lose the game. KT, if they are somehow able, if they have a ward before, if they take down Ruler, that could be the end of it. But instead, it is the turning point, really, because it felt like after that topside skirmish where KT was able to look. Oh, that tells the story.
Yeah.
And that was all Ruler and Knight together in that 2v4.
And I think it says, as you say, wonders about JDG. I mean, another brick paved in the way to that golden road. JDG have looked absolutely incredible when it comes to team fights. Even if they're set behind early, even when it looks like you don't really have an opportunity to come back in a game, JDG will find a way to take that chance with missing, find that road in, 369 attempting to get onto the back line. And as you say, when you've got two of the best in the world at their respective positions in Knight and Ruler, who can make that magic happen at any moment, it's so hard to to find any leeway against JDG.
Yeah, they were just exceptional here today, and also like just fun, man. Like these games were so incredibly fun. I can say it now. They were exciting, guys. They were exciting. I was excited the whole time. I was just trying to hold it in, and it was just amazing to see Missing's positioning, always looking for these attacks onto KT, and they aggressively went out and took this quarterfinal match. They were making all of the plays. They were taking all of the risks. That man there on your screen as well was doing his best. Cuz trying to take these aggressive angles. You can see there's a lot of emotion here for both BDD and Keen. These two players were instrumental throughout so much of the KT summer season especially.
And it's also for Keen. This was supposed to be his moment, coming back internationally. What he was capable of after, of course, his debut internationally was not what he wanted. As we take another look at the final moments of this game. And the final auto!
And I mean, it probably doesn't say that much about, like, it doesn't.
It does.
May
This
not
is not
change
what-
the
no,
outcome of the series,
absolutely not.
even in a little bit. But what a KT way to lose! Like that is,
Like,
it's just
The
quintessential,
one
isn't it?
cannon. The one
BDD,
cannon.
oh my god, BDD, yeah, because he even got...
Yeah, he got the other one.
Yeah. That's heartbreaking.
It is.
But, I mean, again, I think JDG, they've been absolutely fantastic. It's inevitable that they are the team to beat. And I'm looking forward now to seeing who's going to join them tomorrow. Because T1 or LNG are looking at that going, lads, we have our work cut out for us.
They absolutely are. However, I mean, Scout versus Faker, that is going to be a treat no matter what the outcome is going to be. We've seen LNG versus JDG throughout this year. My goodness, if we got that in a semi-final, I don't think anyone's going to be complaining. I think it's win-win, gentlemen.
I had a
Says
lot
Max
of fun.
trying to hide what he really wants.
Yeah.
But now it is time to throw it over to Law with an interview.
이번 경기 승리를 가져간 징동의 나이트 미싱 선수와 인터뷰 나눠보겠습니다. 승리 축하드립니다.
Congratulations to JDG for taking down their opponent and make it to the semifinals. How are you feeling right now?
今天赢下了比赛，顺利晋级到了4强。那晋级到4强之后，感觉如何呢？奈特选手？
就感觉非常开心吧。到这边打也很多人为我们加油，就很开心。
Feeling so great, and a lot of people are supporting us.
팬분들도 꽤 많아서 기분이 더 좋습니다.
네, 미싱 선수도 소감 부탁드리겠습니다.
And Missing, what about you?
感觉很久没打比赛了，就是挺开心的吧。
It's been quite a while since we played games, so it feels very amazing right now.
모두 기분이 너무너무 좋으실 것 같습니다. 네, 그리고 나이트 선수 올해 다전제에서 단 한 번도 패배한 적이 없는데요. 오늘 승리로 다전제 매치 전승을 이어가게 됐습니다. 다전제에서 징동이 가지는 최대 강점이 뭐라고 생각하는지 궁금합니다.
那这个问题也是想问到 Light 选手，其
And this question is over tonight.
的比赛上面其实一局未输的，那今天也是稳稳的
JDG hasn't lost a single one best of 5 at World and secured and managed to continue your records. What do you think is the biggest strength of JDG at this World? I think 5 players on our team are the strongest players.
선수분들을 향한 믿음이 또 있는 것 같습니다. 네, 그리고 미싱 선수 1세트 패배 이후에 빠르게 뱀픽을 수정하는 모습이 굉장히 인상적이었는데요. 어떤 점을 중점적으로 준비하셨는지도 궁금합니다.
那其实这个问题想问到 Missing 选
And
手，我们在
Missing,
第一局
so
失利
after
之后也
game
是
1,
看得出来做了迅速的调整。
we noticed that you made a lot of adjustments after that loss. So could you tell us a little bit on that?
当时就处理一下他们打野英雄吧。
Yeah, we just focus on dealing with their jungler champions.
네, 또 그런 전략이 있었군요.
네, 그리고 나이트 선수께 질문 이어가겠습니다. 이제
And Knight.
LPL 세 팀이 4강에 올라선 가운데 내일 LNG와 T1의 경기가 기다리고 있습니다.
So LPL has 3 teams that already make it to the semifinals, and tomorrow will be the matchup between LNG and T1.
明天就是 T1 对阵 LNG 了，你是如何预测明天的比赛？
What is your expectation for tomorrow's game? These 2 teams are very close, but personally, I really hope that LNG could pick up this win. And I hope that 4 of our LPL teams could make it to the semifinals.
네, 내일 또 어떤 경기 결과가 펼쳐질지 저희도 기대해 보겠습니다. 네, 그리고 미싱 선수 오늘 POS로 선정된 만큼 라칸으로 엄청난 존재감을 보여주셨는데요. 4강에선 어떤 모습을 보여주고 싶은지 각오 들어보겠습니다.
And Missing, you're the player of the series, especially your Rakan was spectacular. So what's your resolution in playing the semifinals? I hope that no matter who we are facing off against, hopefully I can perform at my best form in the upcoming matches. Last but not least, Knight.
세상에 알리고 싶다라고 포부를 밝힌 선수인데요. 네, 앞으로의 각오 들어보겠습니다.
So before, you once said that you wanted to be the strongest mid laner in the LPL. What's your resolution afterwards? I'm getting closer and closer to this goal, and finally, probably meet this expectation, meet my goal this year. And this will be the end of this interview. Thank you, and congratulations again.
Amazing. What a victory for JDG. We were just saying, all jokes aside, or actually jokes that with Azale's current suit, he could rock some of the JDG
The JDG
traits.
shoes?
Yes.
I'm just saying, if they want to give me some free shoes, I'll try them on.
Okay, we'll see if you can rock them as well as them. And it was already said, it was already said in the interview there, but the Oppo player of the series is missing. And I know he had, you know, a couple of oopsies, a few only in that last game, but you have to push the limit sometimes to push the limit.
He was incredible, I think, throughout. Yeah, he got picked a couple times, but I mean, it was them committing a lot. It wasn't like he walked in and died for free. They're committing Vi ulti, they're committing Syndra ulti. And throughout, he was so reliable on the engages, always getting the backline, always putting the pressure on, positioning and attacking the backline from the right angles. To me, this was just a Rakan masterclass.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is like it's a series play, and across his Rakan was such a difference maker. It always allowed them to have really, really strong engage in a lot of these fights, and JDG excel when they are able to do this, right? When someone like Missing on the Rakan initiating the fight, and then the rest of them are able to pile in, Ruler firing from the backline, like it's just the way that they set up these team comps as well, and the way that Missing was able to facilitate and start these fights was amazing.
I mean, even just the little things. We obviously saw that team fight earlier, but watching that again, he's sidestepping the feather pull in the midst of the fight while engaging, while doing all these little things. So to me, the presence of mind to be able to track everything at once is just like,
It's crazy, and I think a lot of the players really came online at the same time, specifically Ruler and Knight, to save this game, really, and to break Emily's heart, unfortunately, for KT.
But to me, it was all about the vision. It's all about the vision here. They actually have that pink ward. They know that Knight's there, but by the time he wards over, it's too late, and they didn't have any angle to actually retreat.
And I know, like, I've been playing the KT fan on this broadcast. JDG are not only a phenomenal team who's going for Golden Road, but we talked about how the team sets up, right? How they want these 5v5s, how they set up around objectives. This is just a straight-up outplay by two of their best players, potentially the best player in the world in Ruler. Like, this is why you have these players. It's not only that JDG are a phenomenal team, but it's that they can pull out these random, insane outplays against their opponents to keep them in the game. Because I actually did think we were going to a game 5.
Yeah, I thought so too. And you had a good point, Chuck. You were talking about it. I mean, I think Ruler played a good series. He played solid all series long. But in this final game, like, he went sicko mode. You got to see why everyone talks about him all the time, right?
Yeah.
He just went insane in the final moments of the game and kind of almost single-handedly, it felt like, took over those fights where he's just really playing his champion to the absolute limit. He's going for the highest possible DPS builds. He's positioning perfectly. He's playing perfectly. And then you're just like, well, what are you supposed to do?
What are you supposed to do? Just
What
die,
are you supposed to do?
apparently.
Yeah.
But Ruler is
like
standing
KT.
by. Aw, Ruler is standing by with Lore in the Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you so much, Lux. We're back here in the interview area with Ruler, who will go once again in semifinals. 축하드립니다. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining me today, and congrats on taking down KT Rolster. They won the first game, and then you steamrolled throughout the rest of the series. But how close were the game for you, and does it match the expectations you had coming into this series against them?
오늘 비록 상대팀이 1세트를 가져왔지만 나머지 세트에서 휘몰아치면서 오늘 승리 가져오셨습니다. 오늘 경기 어떤 식으로 잘 된 것 같으신지 그리고 예상한 대로 잘 나왔나요?
일단 첫 번째 판 때 느낀 게 그냥 저희가 라인전 불리한 픽해도 그냥 무난하게 주도권 이렇게 잡을 수 있겠다 싶어서 그렇게 했는데 잘 먹힌 것 같다고 생각이 듭니다.
Well, what we figured after playing game number 1 was we can just opt into a weaker matchup in the laning phase and we can just play out the game well. So I think it worked really well.
It came out to specific champions in field, and especially on the bot lane, Missing's Rakan was completely deadly, and the synergy was on point between the two of you. Can you tell me about the draft decision makings? Because it felt like before today, a lot of enchanters were coming back, but you guys defaulted to this.
오늘 시리즈에 정말 주요한 픽을 하나 꼽자면 미싱 선수의 라칸이었던 것 같은데요. 그리고 두 선수 바텀 듀오의 정말 시너지도 엄청 났습니다. 오늘 경기 전까지는 사실은 이제 바텀 서포터 픽에서 특히나 이제 좀 유틸형 서폿이 또 많이 나오고 있었는데 오늘 경기 뱀픽은 어떤 식으로 접근하셨나요?
일단 워낙 미싱이 라칸이 잘하다 보니까 좀 저희가 고집해서 뽑은 경향도 좀 있었고 하지만 오늘 경기 해보면서 조금은 티어를 조정해야 되지 않나 싶은 생각이 많이 들었습니다.
Well, because Missing is so good at Rakan, we were a little bit, we were just like insisting to stick to that pick. But after today's series, I think we have to make a little adjustment with our tier list.
It'll be interesting coming into the next series. But something we've talked about a lot today was the consistency that defends your entire career, Roller. From the moment you won Worlds until today, how much stronger do you feel, especially within this JDG collective?
오늘 또 많은 분들이 주목했던 부분이 룰러 선수가 정말 고점의 기량을 정말 장기간 유지하고 있다는 점이 대단하다는 건데요. 월즈 우승했을 때와 지금까지를 비교해 봤을 때 얼마나 더 강해졌다고 생각하시는지 특히나 지금 징동과 함께 하시잖아요. 얼마나 좀 더 성장했다고 보시나요?
일단 확실히 롤드컵을 우승했을 때 저보다 그냥 생각부터가 많이 다르고 그냥 엄청난 차이가 많이 난다고 생각합니다.
I see so many changes and difference. Like basically, the way I think has changed so much. So I would say I've changed and stepped up so much.
I think that doesn't seem to change is the love that you carry for your former teammates from Gen G, flashing the emotes throughout the series. And you eliminate Lehans today, your former support with which you went to semifinals last year. What does it mean to you to knock out an LCK team, but also your former support?
그래도 변하지 않는 게 있다면 룰러 선수의 젠지 사랑이라고 할 수 있는데요. 오늘도 젠지 그 감정 표현도 보여주셨고 또 오늘 어떻게 보면 마음이 아팠던 게 함께했던 이제 서포터 선수인 리엔즈 선수를 탈락시켰잖아요. 젠지도 이제 월즈에서 탈락되었고 이제 이런 식으로 LCK에서 다른 지역으로 이적한 뒤에 LCK 팀을 탈락시킨다든지 전 동료를 탈락시킬 때는 또 어떤 감정이 드시나요?
솔직히 좀 감정은 되게 좋지 않고 안 그래도 이제 한국 팀 플러스 이제 좀 같이 했었던 선수다 보니까 좀 많이 좀 되게 생각보다 마음이 많이 더 아팠고 뭔가 좀 그렇네요 기분이.
Well, this never feels okay, It always really rough for me. I was playing up against an LCK team and my former teammates, so it was heartbreaking to me, so it was really difficult.
A lot of respect, of course, but at the end of the line, you advanced to semifinals, one step away from being maybe the first team in the world who carries the golden road. Do you think you can make it, and how strong is JDG right now at World?
이제 4강 진출하신 만큼 정말 캘린더 그랜드 슬램까지 얼마 남지 않았습니다. 정말 가능한 그런 업적이라고 생각하시는지 그리고 JDG와 함께하는 만큼 얼마나 자신 있으신지 궁금합니다.
일단 JDG랑 함께하는 만큼 좀 자신감은 넘치는 상태지만 저는 진짜 너무 힘들다고 생각해서 불가능하다라고 생각하면서 좀 달릴 예정입니다.
Because I'm with JDG, I'm very confident, but at the same time, it is a very difficult and almost like an impossible thing to achieve. So what I have in mind is that is impossible. That's the mindset I'm having.
Any words that you would have to share for the international fans watching
마지막으로
this interview
국제
right now?
팬분들께 한마디.
Thank you, fans. I love you.
Ruler, thank you so much. interview 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Thank you.
For making the
감사합니다.
effort of speaking in English. Jisun, amazing as always. Thank you so much. Shocks, over to you.
Thank you. He was talking to you, Azale.
Yeah, I think I was going to say. I thought
You
we had a
felt that,
connection. I could
right?
see, you know, that he with the eye contact. It was a special
Oh my
moment.
God.
It was
It
a special
was.
moment.
It
yeah.
was. Oh, great to hear from Ruler. Yeah, of course, talking about the Golden Road, and it's just so interesting to me. You know, in 2017, he was with the LCK with Samsung, winning his first world title then in Beijing, right? He then went on famously to the LPL. He's building even more of a name for himself, and now he, as a Korean player, could win it again, but then here in Korea, kind of killing the hopes of all the Korean fans who still love him, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you heard him talk about, like, he was like, yeah, actually, this was really tough, right?
Yeah.
Because it was just a year ago, I was in the LCK, and not only in the LCK, but my bot lane partner was Lehen, someone I was facing directly in the 2v2 today. And as you saw that tweet from Ashley Kong come up, where it said, you know, on this day previously, is when he did it. So it's a big day for him, both with this win, but also just historically.
I mean, I'm sure it is kind of a little bit conflicting, right? He even played and won in Asia Games for Korea this year. Then he comes back to Korea, you know, in front of friends, family, as a Korean, you know, playing for an LPL team and beating your home league. You know, it has to feel a little bit conflicting.
Yeah.
But he is just such a good player. And I think T1, the hope is still alive for
The
LCK.
only hope for
they
the
are the
LCK.
last team remaining
Yeah.
outside of the LPL from any region. Everyone else is already gone. The LPL have just been dominating. So it's all up to T1 to see if they can keep it from being an all LPL semifinals.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, they are the last LCK hope standing. In a way, I think it's so poetic and so beautiful that it is Faker and that it is T1, but
That's why he's the GOAT!
But I'm also realistic in that this is going to be difficult. I mean, I did not expect the LPL to not only send all 4 to bracket stage. Yes, that could happen, of course. But now to be so strong that they might have all 4 in the semifinals.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the big thing is LNG are no slouch, right?
Nope.
Like, this is a team that hotly contested
Second best
JDG.
team, I think,
Yeah,
in LPL.
and they look really, really strong going forward. Obviously, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is the 1v1 versus Scout and Faker, right? Just because, for people that don't know, Scout used to be Faker's like backup. He was a trainee behind Faker on T1.
I mean, it's incredible. And LPL has never had 4 teams in the knockout stage, ever.
Mhm.
And no region has ever had all 4 in the top 4. It's never been done before. So I think it would be that massive statement from the LPL that the time of the LCK is over.
Whoa.
Wow.
Strong statement, Azale. Hey, remember to lock your pick'ems for tomorrow. T1 versus LNG. But T1, they lost to the fairy tale story in DRX last year. Can they take on the mantle? Can they be the DRX that the LCK needs them to be this year? I don't know. It's going to be so difficult, but hey, crazier things have happened at Worlds, so you have to keep believing, especially if you're an LCK fan. It's 2-0 in favor of the LPL so far, but tomorrow it's none other than 3-time world champion T1 trying to defend the honor of the LCK
So
versus
excited.
LNG Esports. In just a few minutes, the final round of the TFT Runeterra Reforged Championship will be played as well. We'll raid over there too, so stick around and watch that. So, you know, you can cool down a little from this.
And he can win those.
Those they
Cheer
can
in,
win.
LCS
So,
fans.
we'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. See you then.
Dominus comes out, there's the crash down, and Cuz is gonna turn on, he flashes forward, can they get it? No, they can't. First blood picked up by JDG, immediately answered though by KT, and now flashes away, BDD trying to get into the Moonlight Vigil, flies forward, and Amy's gonna lock down the first kill. Rule is dead as well as BDD, perfect execution, and KT will tear JDG apart. Is this really happening? Can he actually find it? Shape Splitter comes through to confuse them, but they will not be confused this time. First blood goes to Cuz. The KT are on the board. And he gets picked up by the Pop Blossom, has to flash. Moonlight Vigil is going to
Welcome to the Howling Abyss.
The world is cruel. It doesn't have
Minions
to be
have
ugly.
spawned.
Take the bridge.
Enemy killing spree. Enemy double kill. Shut down. Enemy triple kill.
I swear his performance is the last that I learned. asks questions, never has answers.
Destroyed. Aced.
Everyone wears a mask. I just chose to create my own.
Enemy triple kill. Your inhibitor is respawning soon. Enemy rampage.
Nice choice. Very simple. When I shoot, they pass.
Defeat.
I thought you'd never pick me.
Fixing the world, one scoundrel at a time.
What is broken can be reforged. There is no grave, only life and death.
Good day! Rice.
Welcome to the Harmony Grid.
Darkness fades away. I will expose its weakness.
Minions have spawned.
light reaches all. Enemy double kill. Shut down. What a fire does not consume will consume the fire. Illuminate chaos, and nothing remains. I will not be broken. Enemy double kill. We only have to open our eyes to the light. An ally has been slain. Dawn comes for everyone. Has been slain. An ally has been slain. All paths lead to the light. Enemy killing spree. arises from conviction. Together, we will humble the universe. Consume the fire.
Your turret has been destroyed.
I'll dig more of those up.
He will kneel before the light.
Enemy double kill. Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
world balances on the edge of malfunction. They hide from order.
Impossible.
Even all of Runeterra could be.
You guide my ride. You have slain an enemy. Focus. Never falter.
We only have to open our eyes to the light.
Calm yourself.
He is his own master.
Victory!